And we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to our listeners from around the world. This is BWTM Sports. First, I want to thank our new subscribers to the channel. There's been a lot of you recently, and we just want to say thank you. We appreciate your subscription, and as I said, we really appreciate it, and we hope that you can join us on our live shows. They're spontaneous at the moment. There will be a schedule at some point, probably in the new year, as to when our shows will be live with a regular schedule. So you'll know when we will be live. Um, Also, want to say to our viewers who've been there from the very start, thank you so much. And I say, we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to our listeners. Oh, sorry about that. Hear my own voice. Yeah, and to those people who have been with us from day one, thank you so much for sticking by us and supporting us. It really is inspirational. And when I get emails or get inbox messages with people who say to me, "Oh, I've been listening since day one," and then when you meet people, eventually meet them, and they say to you, "Oh, do you remember that video you did, or this video you did, or that interview you did?" And somebody's done so many interviews now, you kind of forget about them. But I appreciate it, and I really appreciate all the positive. And even the hate I appreciate, because you know what? The hate makes us grow even stronger. It makes us work harder to keep improving. So keep it up. So please, for those who are listening and haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Why should you hit the subscribe button? Well, when you hit the subscribe button, you're notified of every interview. You're notified of when we go live. You're notified of our latest videos. You'll get notified. So that's going to be something that's helpful to you. The next thing is, please share the videos across our subscribers. I'm sure most of you've got Facebook pages. Please feel free, share the videos on your Facebook page, on your Twitter page, retweet the videos. We really want to get our subscription out of the 3.3 thousand subscribers. We're trying to push to 5,000 subscribers as quick as possible. We're on close to 3.4 thousand subscribers. We want to get to 3.5 before the end of the year. Maybe tip it to 4,000 subscribers. So we really do, and we can only do it with your help by you sharing, subscribing, telling people about the channel. Really appreciate it. Right, that's enough of the gardening work. Now we're going to get into business. Good afternoon to Miss Cortez from Los Angeles. How you're asking Mikey how he's doing? How about how I'm doing? But yeah, great. Yeah, I'm good, and Mikey's good as well. Good to see you in the room, Mikey. Um, Mikey's not been here since day one, but I'm a big fan, Ingram, and has helped me a lot through depression. Really, Mikey? Well, I'm gonna have to do a video on, on depression. I was once a sufferer of chronic fatigue syndrome for 7 years of my life, and that was while I was boxing as well. So that's something I definitely want to go into and talk about. The battle of mental health. It's something definitely to talk about. Big bouts of depression, definitely something to talk about. Not in there anymore, but definitely something to talk about in the future. Right, my man in the house, DJ Slick. Good to see you in the room. And Weed Degree in the room. Now, I have to be honest. I try and be honest when I do these live shows, and I will tell you first and foremost. Anybody who read my Twitter feed last night would have known that I switched the TV off and went straight to bed, and I recorded the Sky Sports boxing for WACH versus Miller and JACOBS versus ARIAS. Reason being, when you upload and upload and upload and you watch videos, you do live commentary, it can become very exhausting. It just becomes overload. And unless it's sometimes you get to the point where unless it's urgent or I'm gonna commentate on this or I've got a genuine interest in the fights, then I ain't bothering. And last night was one of those nights. Said, you know what, I'm gonna give it a miss tonight, and I'm going to bed early. And you know what, it probably wasn't a bad thing to do. First of all, Josh Taylor. I think he beat a guy called Vasquez. Fantastic from Josh Taylor. I think he is definitely a talent going places. I hear people saying he's going to be world champion one day. People saying he's world class, blah, blah, blah. Listen, Josh Taylor is a very good fighter. And anybody who read my article with the Irish boxing review of 2000, I think of 14 or 2013, and it was Steve Welling's publication. He asked me to do a blog or my thoughts, and I predicted Carl Frampton would become a superstar in boxing if he was guided right. If the same people that guided Carl Frampton to superstardom can do the same thing with Josh Taylor, as long as they guide him, put him in the right fights at the right time. I mean, to be fair, the O'Hara Davis fight was a great fight to put him in, but it's a bit of an illusion because for me, because O'Hara Davis did nothing as an amateur and hadn't really done anything as a pro. Just a guy who could punch. Delusionally by his trainer said that he could punch as hard as Julian Jackson. I'd love to hear what Julian Jackson thinks about that. So we'll ask him one day. But I just think to myself, at the end of the day, Josh Taylor's got talent. And I did see the knockout. That was on my Twitter page, and I posted it afterwards. So shout out to Josh Taylor. I was very impressed with him, as always. But again, the O'Hara Davis fight did well, but we just don't know how good O'Hara Davis is. Okay, next thing. Big shout out to Josh Leather, I think his name is. He boxed against a guy called Foot, and that was a great fight for 12 rounds. And I was very impressed with Josh Leather. People say to me, "Why are you impressed with Josh Leather, Ingram?" It's quite simple. I like guys who who've got fast hands and put punches together in combinations. I like guys who put 4 and 5 punches together. I like, there's something about that. A guy that's when he's in a confrontation situation in boxing where his back is against the ropes and a guy's on him and he throws 4 or 5 punch combinations. I like that. So any fight he does that, I'm impressed with. When De La Hoya used to do it, I was impressed with that. I used to wait in De La Hoya would let a 4 or 5 punch combinations. I used to love seeing rip to body to head. I used to love that. Sugar Ray Robinson obviously is my favorite fighter. So watching him, Roy Jones Jr. putting combinations together, bah, 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 love it. It's like music, like drums. It's fantastic. And seeing a guy throw combinations and then spin, get out through the side door rather than backing straight up. Fantastic. I love that stuff. That's something I love to see. And I'm it's very impressive when you see it. So I saw Josh Leather in the 12th round putting a 4 or 5 punch combinations in the 12th round. And I said, yeah, see this guy here? I like him. I don't know how far he'll go, but in terms of how he puts his punches together, his art, I like him. I could roll with that guy. I like that guy and I want to know more about him. So Josh Leather, big shout out to you. And if we can get you on BWTM Sports, definitely. I like you. I like what you got to say. I like what you're doing. I like the way you put your punches together. In a 12-round bout, in the 12th round, you let off 4 and 5 punch combinations. I love that. And a guy's bringing it to you, and it's a grudge match, and you're able to put them combination together in the 12th round. Man, that's something. You remind me of when Morales and Barrera had that war, and they were throwing combinations back and forth with one another. I'm not saying that Josh Leather is Morales or Barrera. I'm just saying in terms of the combination punching and the back and forth between the two guys. Obviously, it's not at that level, but yeah, still really, really impressed with him. Very, very, very impressed with him. Okay, so shout out to Josh Leather about that, and of course Josh Taylor. Now. Let us talk about, before I go further, let's talk about Bermain Stavern. I did touch on it on the last video I did, but now everyone's in the room. Bermain Stavern. We did the live interview with him, and of course, a lot of people on YouTube have got nothing better to do themselves than to sit down and write derogatory comments someone who've never laced a glove in their life, never taken a punch in anger, and would never even dare step in a ring with Deontay Wilder, even if they were heavyweight. Okay, so I don't care much for those people. I know they care for people who just want to swear and be disrespectful and rude. So most of their comments, they were trashy comments, and you know where trash goes? In the bin. On our channel, those trashy comments go in the bin. And of course, there are people who are frustrated, who back Stavern. I get it. It wasn't a great fight. They want Stavern to win. Stavern didn't do well. He did a lot of talking. He got knocked out. Okay. Now, in Stavern's defense, oh, I can defend Stavern. You can't defend the weight, mate. You can't defend. I know. I understand. I get it. I get you. I understand. But in his defense, he did say, I said I got punched in the back of my head. A lot of people were just ignorant. They heard, he said he got punched in the back of the head. He's making excuses. Well, okay. If a man's making his excuse, okay. But if he's making an excuse which is valid, let's go back and look at the tape. He gets hit with a right hand round the back of the head. Then, next minute, Wilder turns around, throws him 1-2, drops him on the canvas. He gets up. Go and look exactly what he says to the referee. He goes back through his gum shield, back of my head. Go back and watch it. I've played it and played like 3 or 4 times. Back of my head. Back of my head. Back of my head, he's saying it. Okay. So then he gets knocked down again. He gets up. He says, back of my head to the ref. The referee's still doing the count. Now, before you get in the ring, the referee says, protect yourself at all times. I agree. I understand that. But all I'm saying is, Stavern said that. He said it. And in the fight, he did say that. Regardless, he did get hit at the back of the head. And I can tell you from firsthand, when you get hit at the back of your head, and in sparring, you get hit at the back of your head, that's where your sight can go. And I remember getting hit at the back of my head, and the guy I was sparring, I could see the same guy, I could see double. I was getting double vision. So getting hit at the back of your head is just a terrible, horrendous experience. Would not wish that on anybody. And if you got no balance, you got no balance. I guess the best way to describe it would be for me to spin you around about 15 times and then tell you to move forward, and then I come charging at you, throwing punches at you. You don't stand much of a chance. And that's what happens when you get hit at the back of your head. Your whole body gets shaken up, and no matter how good your chin is, or how good your will is, or how well you've trained, you get hit in the right spot, that's what happens. So unfortunately, he got hit in the right sweet spot by Wilder, who is pound for pound one of the biggest punchers in heavyweight boxing today, and he's unbeaten, and he's world champion, and he's either ranked 1 or 2 in the world, depending on where you're looking at it. Don't say Tyson Fury because he's inactive at the moment, but between Joshua and Wilder, if Wilder was that much of a bum, I don't understand why so many people are pushing for Wilder versus Joshua. So it's all pretty silly because he didn't get knocked out by a bum. He got beaten by the WBC champion, unbeaten, and is a destructive puncher. So on the subject of that, I just thought I'd shut that down and say, listen, you got beat by a good guy, and that's it. And the other subject is people said, oh, he's not giving Wilder credit. Shut that down as well. He did say in the interview, listen, Wilder is the champion. And this is a guy he doesn't particularly like. So for some people to think suddenly because you don't like somebody and you get knocked out by that person, that you're suddenly going to start praising the person, that's not going to happen. We're in a world today, in my opinion, we're in a world today, society today, where praise has become almost like God worship. So you've just got to literally bend over backwards to the point where it's ridiculous. So because the commentators do it, because they're selling a product, they think the fighters have to do the same thing, and they don't, and they won't. So they're not going to send one another Christmas cards. It is what it is. And, you know, you can't make a person be something that they're not. And that's just the way Stavern was. People are not going to like what I've got to say. Stuff them. But that's just my thoughts on the matter. Moving on. Mr. David Haye. Rumours that he possibly could pull out. There's an injury rumour going around. Listen, David Haye, injury, and presuming it's going to be fine. Well, we've been there before. Many times in David Haye's career, we've been there where rumours come out, he's injured. We'll give it the benefit of the doubt. And it's turned out to be not in our best favour. The Klitschko fight, there was a problem with injury. They had the other Klitschko fight where he pulled out. He had injured his back. There was a Maris Vac fight where he got pulled out because he's injured, but we heard that afterwards he wasn't injured. Then we had the 2 Tyson Fury fights. So now we had the Tony Bellew fight where he went to see his doctor before the fight, and then we discover afterwards that in the fight, body breaks down on him. So I've already called it and said that David Haye has come back way too soon for him to recover from an Achilles injury that quickly. You know, unless he met Jesus Christ along the way and got his leg healed, I don't know how he's got himself recovered so quickly and he's putting himself under the pressure to go back in the ring again and do that all over again. Look, I've got a theory about David Haye, and I actually think that David Haye is, I won't say permanently injured, but his body is shot to pieces at 37. It's shot to pieces. And I just think now, any money he makes now is to help with his promotional company and his future. You know, I see pictures of David Haye posting with his son, and it's great and it's fantastic and it's nice. And any father getting time to spend with his son is absolutely a special thing. And I will never ever speak down on a father spending time with his son. Trust me, I understand. Now, some fathers don't get to see their son, so you know, David doing what he's doing there, full credit to him for doing that. But in the eve on the verge of a big fight between him and Tony Bellew, I'm not sure where his priorities are, and I'm not sure about the injury either, whether it's true, it's false. But injury and rumors with Haye being injured, we know that's a bad sign. And is that the sign to let us know already? Don't put your money on him. I don't know. But did Tony Bellew know that David Haye would be coming to the ring on one leg? I don't know. But he certainly knows that Haye coming into the fight in a rematch, it's not going to look great. Okay, now let's see people in the room. BWTM all day, every day, baby, says Mikey. Heck yeah. This says Mikey. DJ Slick says, Transferbly says, pound for pound, channel of the year. I think others would disagree. Eastern versus I didn't see that fight. I'm sorry, I did not see that because I went to bed. Evening, folks. Didn't see anything special in Miller. In fact, he's poor. Yeah. Let's talk about Miller. For me, he's a big, strong guy, limited, gets hit way too often with the right hand, and I think he's very limited. And I think when he actually meets a guy who can actually punch hard, I want to see how he does, because I don't think he hits hard enough as a heavyweight. Yes, he's active, seems to have good stamina. I just don't think he's good enough. I think he's pretty poor, to be honest. But you know, when people are begging and dying and just eager to have somebody look devastating in the heavyweight division, they'll pick anybody. We're desperate at the moment. We've got Joshua, we've got Wilder, but people are just not satisfied enough to looking for somebody else who's going to come and be sure he's going to clean up the division. So we're looking to, you know, a Big Baby Miller, or maybe looking to Joseph Parker. You know, we're looking for somebody who's going to be devastating. We've got Deontay Wilder, but people are not convinced about his technique. We've got Joshua, but people are concerned about how big Joshua's getting, and the fight against Dillian White where he got rocked, and the fact he got dropped by Klitschko, and then the Takam fight. People are still not as convinced about Joshua. I'm in an iron with Wilder. I'm in an iron with Parker. So nobody really looks the business. Wilder's last fight against Stavern, well, people say, well, Stavern's old, he hadn't fought for 2 years. So they still don't think Wilder's answered any questions either. And then you look at the Joshua fight. Well, Joshua had fought Klitschko, hadn't been at the ring for 2 years, blah, blah, blah. So they're still looking for somebody in the division, I think. People are still looking for somebody in the division who's going to do the business. That's what I feel. And that's why we've got the situation we've got at the moment where people are looking at Big Baby Miller to possibly be the man, but I don't know. Let's see. Taylor versus Ndongo. Oh, I won't want to see that just yet. Shoaib says, Big Olafez says, Bayloric, what do? Yeah, I'm cool, man. How you doing, champ? Josh Taylor will win a world title without a doubt, says Shoaib. Yep. Big Olaf says, think of Stavern's excuse. He actually did get hit in the back of the head. That's true. The ref should have called the foul on Bermain that rocks a fighter that takes away the sentence. Agreed, but let's say it was not going to happen with Bermain because they just wanted him out of the way, quite literally. Shoaib says O'Hara got paid 10,000 for that fight, or 110,000 for fight. He's making Mayweather money. Leather versus Nurse would be good. Maybe Nest Bertabeef fight. I've got Bertabeef. I've said it finally for the first time right. And Joshua fight so far worth the watch. Taylor's meant to be a good fight. Goguja. No racism or hatred allowed. Different opinion, yes, of course, says Mikey. Goguja says, just a shame Stavern didn't put up any fight at all. It was over so quickly. I agree. Forget all that crap. But I think he got hit in the back of the head. But as boxing fans don't want to hear that. I agree. It did look like he got hit in the back of the head, but it's unclear whether it was Wilder. Bertabev looked poor, nothing special to be honest. As of Stavern just turned out the wrong time. Yes. Mikey says, in light of Bermain's interview, it all makes sense. Feel for the guy. He's been treated unfairly. Yeah, well, I spoke to him afterwards for another 50 minutes on the telephone. Let me tell you something. I said to Bermain, why didn't you say this stuff? I mean, he's got some stuff to share. Man, I tell you. And it's actually got nothing to do with the Wilder fight. But we've got some interesting stuff to talk about. And really interesting stuff. Like, for example, the Hebrew Hammer last night. The opponent ran into his elbow, fell down, and got counted out. DJ Slick says, I have to say, I thought it was all excuses because in real time it didn't look like he got hit from the back of the head. But now going back and looking at it again, he definitely did. Bermain wasn't lying. I said this. There's a story in the Daily Star claiming he was injured and the belly fight off. Could be fake news, though. Okay. I've changed my mind. Hayes win it if he's less than 80%. Miller is a punch bag for the elite. Too open. I agree. The heavyweight division is poor with crappy depth. I agree. Who wins, Jamel Willer or Stavern? Well, if he lets, well, I don't know. Stavern's got to be more active for me. Ingram, can you imagine Huey Fury dancing around Miller with angles? He'd land the right hand for fun. It'd be a slaughter. Do you think Vac was a shot fighter? I've met Marius Vac actually, and I saw Marius Vac manhandling Derek Chisora, and that was in his last week of sparring before the Tyson Fury fight, and he was in. That's the day Chisora got injured his hand. It was him and Ustinov sparring Chisora, and Chisora looked great until then. But Vac was manhandling Chisora. Shot. I don't know. I don't know if he was shot. He was injured. Listen, I think Joe Miller. I don't know who's better between Joe Miller and Joseph Parker, to be honest. But Joe Miller will put pressure on Fury from round 1 to round 12. I think he's more of an intense fighter than Parker. And I don't think those tactics would work Huey Fury against Miller, because Miller would make him fight even more. Get Bermain back on to expose those fools. Yeah, Bermain will be back for sure. Before the fight, Stavern said there'd be no excuses. Well, getting hit the back of the head, it's not an excuse. It's what he said happened, and it did happen. Usyk could walk through this new division. Could do. Miller is overweight, very slow, plodding, poor fundamentals, defensively open. I'd back White to beat him. I don't think White's that great, to be honest. He's all right, he's good, but I don't think he's great. Usyk beats Parker. Yeah, I think Uncle Bashir was saying the same thing. He'd like to see Usyk fight in that division. Miller versus White would be fun. I think that's the fight that needs to be made, to be honest. What's going on? Am I scrolling down? Huh? Is there nobody else talking to me in the room, or is that it? Oh, must be it. Yeah. Yeah, so let's talk about Usyk without Bashir at heavyweight won't end well. Just remember I said that. Miller, White, same level, hard to choose. Yeah, it is that. I mean, I didn't think Miller looked devastating against Washington, and I didn't think he looked devastating against Vac. I didn't think White looked devastating against Hellenius, and I didn't think he looked devastating against what's the fight he had before that? Lewison? I don't know. I don't know. I just think they're good fighters, workman-like performances. So you workman-like, and it's fine, but along the way you're making mistakes. You're walking into right hands along the way. I just don't know how Dillian White's going to deal with the Deontay Wilder right hand walking in like that. I just don't know. I don't know. I like the cross-arm defense that Dillian White was throwing out using. I did like that. I was impressed with that. Okay, I'd like to see Bermain work with Bashir if he has serious ambitions on carrying on. I don't think that's going to happen. I did try and talk to Bermain about that, but he'll definitely be back February or March against a top 10 opponent. That I am sure of. Right, let's talk about Miller versus Vac. I don't know what was wrong with Maris Vac. Apart from Miller was putting some punches on him. Vac, I think, seems he was injured. So I'm not sure. He looked okay against Vac, not great. Listen, I went to sleep last night because I didn't think I'd be excited about the boxing. I got up 9 o'clock this morning to watch the boxing, excited to watch the boxing on my Skybox. And I'm not a word of a lie. I started watching the boxing with Vac Miller and I fell back asleep again. I had to pause it, finish my sleep, get up and watch it. And Vac Miller put me to sleep. Then I got up to watch Jacobs versus Arias. Now let me explain something about Danny Jacobs on this channel. I didn't have to watch Danny Jacobs box against Gennady Golovkin to understand he's a good boxer. I didn't have to watch him fight Gennady Golovkin to understand he had good boxing fundamentals. I didn't have to watch him against Gennady Golovkin to know that he would be able to avoid a lot of Golovkin's punches and give Golovkin a tough fight. I didn't have to watch that because I told you. All the people that came on the channel, what are you talking about? Jacobs is going to get Golovkin's going to walk straight down and walk over Jacobs, going to knock him out a couple rounds. Said, you don't know your boxing. Movement, lots of good movement. Guys like Golovkin and Canelo struggle against guys who are movers. Golovkin will never be a big power puncher against a mover. Any guy who moves, got good footwork, doesn't allow Golovkin to set and throw punches. That's what gives Golovkin problems. Golovkin's fine if you're plodding, you come straight at him. That's why Canelo didn't come straight at Golovkin. You saw what he did, threw his punches and didn't stay in the same place for too long. Threw his punches, moved out the side door. Was on the ropes, moved out the side door. Didn't try and move back in straight lines. Moved out the side. Throw your punches, get to the side. And that's what you got to do against a guy against Golovkin. You got to try that point Golovkin. You know, use your movement, use your footwork. And that's why I said Jacobs would cause Golovkin all sorts of problems. Any guy that decides to come straight ahead against Golovkin, that allows Golovkin to get the foot in to throw the shots. But you go back and look at my video of Golovkin Jacobs, my prediction or my preview. I said Jacobs would give Golovkin a lot of problems. But they were all experts in there. Golovkin's going to knock him out. You've got to understand, you've got to look at people for what they actually can do. But what happens with fans, what they do is, a guy could be decent or good fighter or very good fighter, and then they just add on top these things that the fighter can't do. They'll never be able to do. Like, for example, Amir Khan. They'll say, oh, Khan's got a brilliant IQ. He's going to box circles around Canelo. And I'd say, well, hold on. Let's look at something here. He's going to fight Canelo. Yes, he may have fast hands, but it's no use having fast hands and a low boxing IQ. A low boxing IQ means, for example, not knowing when to throw a punch. For example, I'll break that down for you. A guy's got a high IQ, Floyd Mayweather. He knows when to throw punches, when not to throw punches. Floyd knows when to counter, when not to counter. Floyd knows when to stay in the pocket. Floyd knows when to come out of the pocket. Khan has low IQ. So Khan will sit in the pocket with a big puncher and walk onto a big left hook. Khan will stand in front of a big puncher, throw the same jab twice, and stand in front of the puncher and drop his hands. Boom, get knocked out. That's low IQ. That's not high IQ. So you can have all the fast hands you want in the world. As long as you've got that low IQ, at some point in time, whether by concentration or poor defense, you're going to stop. And as you stop, that's when you get nailed. That's why Canelo, once he just waited, Khan's like, oh yeah, I boxed him for 4 rounds. That's okay. Canelo's like, okay, yeah, okay, fine. You can't hurt me. Okay, fine. Let me just wait for you to drop your hand. You just drop your guard. You just drop your hand. Boom. That's it. Fight done. There's no point winning 4 rounds. It's a 12-round fight. So boxing fundamentals, you see. But fans will ignore that and say, oh, he's got great hand speed, Khan. He's going to run rings around Canelo. And yeah, he got knocked out of the low weight divisions. It doesn't matter he got knocked out of the low weight divisions. It's because he was weight trained. He's going to take that power, no problems against Canelo. And who's Canelo beat? Khan's fought better fighters than Canelo. So they start making things up. And Khan's chin's not that bad. And Khan's got brilliant hand speed. And Khan can box like Mayweather. And all this crap starts coming out. And you start building up a fighter that's not the fighter, it's somebody else. So when the reality comes down to the fight night, then we get the truth. The fans can't fight for that person. They can't give that person higher boxing IQ. The fans can't give that person a better chin or better reflexes or bigger punching power. And what happens is they end up getting exposed. So that's what happens. So, you know, it's like, it'd be like me sitting down and telling you, you know, Stavern moves his head like Mike Tyson and he's got fast feet like Mike Tyson. And, you know, Stavern, if I said those things, it wouldn't be realistic to who the fighter is, you know? So it's knowing the fighter's strengths, weaknesses, and then seeing whether those strengths and weaknesses, honestly, can beat the other guy or be allowed to beat the other guy. So, the argument, Guruji, is when Khan is on form and focus, he's very tough to beat. By who though? By who? I mean, I would argue that point. Any big puncher, I put any big puncher in the ring of Khan. I find that pretty flawed. You know, I think he's very tough to beat because he's got low IQ. Very low IQ. You just need to land. If you're a big puncher, if you're a guy that can't punch or not, look, it's got to the stage now where even Chris Algieri was able to rock Khan. So this what you get if you get knocked down by Willie Lemond and getting knocked and getting wobbled by Chris Algieri, then that says it all, doesn't it? I mean, that's where the chin is at this stage of his career. But hey, you know, again, fans don't see these sort of things. You can't smarten up. You're right. You can't smarten up a chin. You can't train your chin. What he should have done, and listen to me here. Listen to what I'm saying to you here. You could mark this down today. In December, all that Scott Quigg has done by leaving Joe Gallagher to go to Freddie Roach is that he's increased the percentages of him getting knocked out. Mark my words, Joe. It's not about if, it's when Scott Quigg gets knocked out. Only a matter of time. Yeah, but it can happen. He doesn't have to go to Freddie Roach. See, Freddie Roach at the time of guys, one of those type of coaches that will push the action. What Scott Quigg needs to work on is defense, not attack. Why is it? Like, these guys are not intelligent. Amir Khan and Scott Quigg, not intelligent guys, not the smartest. They're not intelligent guys. Because, listen to this. If you are a fighter that has defensive flaws, why are you going to attacking coach? Yeah, well, you can even strengthen his attack, innit? So he can throw even more punches. Yes, and then you put yourself in more danger to get knocked out. What you need to be doing is working your defense. Go to a defensive coach. Go to a coach that's going to teach you defense, not one that teaches you attack, defense. Attack isn't your problem. Defense is your problem. Scott Quigg, Amir Khan, both you need to sort in your defense. That's it. You need to work on your defense. If Khan worked on his defense, he'd be a better fighter, better all-round fighter. But he has got a low IQ, which means it's upstairs. So the only reason why Maidana beat Amir Khan, I don't think you've heard the story, and Mahib explained it earlier on. Maidana came out of depression, right? And Maidana hadn't been fighting for a while. He came off depression, and then he went to Robert Garcia, and then he got his life together, and then he fought Broner. Do you really think that Khan would have beaten that Maidana? Well, get out of here, man. That was a dedicated Maidana. Maidana's career was off the rails. Then he went to Robert Garcia's gym, and then his career pushed on. So you can't talk about the Maidana that go. What was Maidana doing before he fought Khan? Check that out. Khan vastly overrated. Brooks smashes him. Quite possibly. Khan's been hurt by Algeria and dropped by Willie Lemon. Yeah, Khan knows where his chin's at. You don't want to be getting hit by Kell Brook. Khan is finished as Triple D. Khan sparks Brook easy, in my opinion. He just needs to hit the eye socket and Brook will quit. Yeah, of course. Because Khan hits harder than Errol Spence, right? And Khan hits harder than Gennady Golovkin, right? And like those two guys, you know, walked through Kell Brook. Of course they did. And Brook and Khan ain't got no power. Khan won't get out the way of Brook's right hand after 6 rounds. He'll get knocked out. Of course, Brook's a quitter, but he doesn't get knocked out. LOL. He quits, but he won't be quitting against Khan. I can tell you that now. Valdez will crush Quigg. Diaz had him drop 2. Quigg is useless. Maidana is a big. Don't forget that one. Khan's fans live off that Maidana fight. That was, yeah. And if that was any other, any other place, that particular night, and it was the promotion was to help Khan, not Maidana, because he could have got stopped in that 10th round. Believe me, many referees would have stopped that fight. Brook fans live off the Sean Porter fight. Sean Porter got a draw of Julio Diaz. Sean Porter also beat Adrian Broner. I'd like to see Quigg under Virgil Hunter. Now he could fight in the heavyweight division. I don't like Brook either, but he needs, all he needs is hit Khan on the chin. Who do you think Parker fights next? I hope it's going to be Lucas Brown. Could you imagine Khan at 154 against Jamil Charlo? He'll be twitching harder than Lupin. Holy crap. Oh dear, let's not even talk about that fight. I heard someone describe Khan as having a cash out chin. Okay, so let's go back to the Danny Jacobs fight. Danny Jacobs fight, in my opinion, thought it was a good fight, a good boxing match. I didn't understand what Arias' game plan was. I didn't get it. For somebody who spoke so passionately at the press conference, and yeah, well, you know, Stavern spoke passionately as well. People will be quick to bring that up, and I understand. But for somebody who spoke so passionately at the press conference about what he was going to do, you know, Stavern was unable to do what he was able to do because Deontay put his lights out real early. But as for Arias, I don't quite understand what the game plan was. And for all the talk of John David Jackson, I don't understand him as a trainer. He kept telling Arias to go to Jacobs' body. Just go to the body. As if it was like Arias had the power to stop Jacobs to the body. And like when he was going to the body, he was like throwing single shots to the body. I didn't see him throw 4 and 5 punches to the body. So I didn't understand what John David Jackson's actual strategy was. I didn't understand what Arias was doing. It just looked to me like Arias just happy to go 12 rounds. He thought of no point in time in that fight did he fight like a guy that actually believed he could beat Jacobs. He actually fought like a guy who got an opportunity to fight Jacobs, was going to get paid some good cash to fight Jacobs on HBO on a main event, right? And he thought, I like this money. Let me just safety first and just not get knocked out. And then look, I can go 12 rounds against Daniel Jacobs. At the end of the day, I'm young. I can come back. If I land a punch and I'm lucky, then fine. If not, then I'll do the 12 rounds. And hey, I was just main event with Danny Jacobs. I went 12 rounds. Golovkin went 12 rounds with Danny Jacobs. So hey, I didn't get blitzed around like Peter Quillin did. So not bad. It looked like a paycheck job to me. That's what it looked like to me. I didn't understand it. Can I say that John David Jackson is overrated as a trainer? He had no game plan for Arias. He was just there being a tire. Yeah, he was. I didn't understand what he was doing in there. Before the Khan fight, Maidana was active. He had 4 fights over the previous 14 months. Parker recorded his record is decent, arguably better than Wilder. There's a documentary of Marcus Maidana out there. Mahib was telling me earlier about what was going on in Marcus Maidana's career. Arias didn't even want to push Jacobs back and land 5 or 6 punches with various shots. It was a poor performance. Like Ingram said, the Maidana which beat Broner would have smacked Khan. I agree. Arias' claim to fame will now be durable and a guy who can give some top 10 guys a decent run out. Yeah, transfer bully. Jacobs beats Canelo for me. I'd love to see that fight. Arias had no desire. Triple D, no. The Maidana who beat Broner was worse than the fresher Maidana that Khan fought. Broner got beat by much more battle-worn Maidana. He retired 2 fights after Broner. He was already done. Okay, fine. I'm not gonna debate that point of view because that's really not the talking point. The talking point is Miller versus VAC and Jacobs versus Arias. Khan. If you want to talk about Khan, that was the interview. That was the show before. So going back to my point. Arias wasted his opportunity. He's better than that performance. Yeah, he did waste the opportunity. Now, was it stage fright or what they call was the occasion too much for Arias? Well, the occasion looked too much for his trainer because his trainer forgot what he was meant to be doing in there. I thought Arias looked great considering the level of opposition he was up against a young fighter with a bright future ahead. I don't know if you consider that a bright future ahead. I don't see it really. Arias looked very average to me, very, very average. That's not saying that Jacobs is not a very good fighter, but when he actually landed a few punches, Jacobs didn't look as comfortable when he did throw punches. I wasn't that impressed with Arias. I really am not. I want to see Jacobs against Charlo. That's the fight I want to see. I've got no interest in seeing Jacobs versus Gennady Golovkin for a second time. Absolutely none. I would like to see Jacobs versus Canelo. That's a hard fight for Jacobs, I think. And because, see, Gennady Golovkin can only fight one way, which is go forward. I like Canelo more because Canelo will mix things up. He can move off the front foot. He can box off the back foot. He can move through the sides. Canelo's a very different proposition to Gennady Golovkin. Hearn will make White Miller. I can see it coming. The winner will get to fight Joshua. It's Miller. Let's see. If it's Miller, it'll be Joshua US debut. If it's White, big stadium fight on box office. Porter didn't have power, only applies pressure. If VAC had a good punch, he could have knocked out Miller. Yeah. Jacobs beats Canelo and has already beat Golovkin in my eyes, which will make it official if he gets the rematch. Okay. I think Arias felt Jacobs' power early and he became the opponent, literally shelled up and wanted to protect his record and not get knocked out, plain and simple. Yes, I agree with that there, Mikey. Shoaib says Arias said he messed his foot up, so couldn't pull shots. Well, he messed his foot up late in the fight, though. Andrade has moved up to 160, I believe. Game changer for the division. I think he could beat all the top guys. I love Andrade anyway. Charlo beats Jacobs. I think so. I don't think Miller can beat White. Battle of the peasants. Hearn is talking up what Miller like the next Mike Tyson. Well, that's Hearn's job. Them twins are very, very underrated. Michael John says DJ Slick because he's trying to make that bread. Say what you want about Stavern. If he lands the right hand Vacted, Miller won't be coming for much longer. Underdog, yeah. Twisted his foot in the 11th round. Yeah. He twisted his foot in the 11th round. Them twins are very underrated. I know they are very underrated. I rate them both very highly. Yeah. So, well, we've talked about Josh Taylor. Yeah, shout out to Josh Taylor as well. Talked about him. Talked about Josh Taylor. Talked about Hay. Talked about I heard about the Williams versus Smith fight too. I heard that the scoring was dodgy again on Box Nation. They said the commentary on Box Nation was a bit dodgy. It's the first time I've heard Box Nation. I didn't hear the commentary. I don't know, but Barry Jones, my old gym mate, and John Rowan's normally very good as well. So I don't know what that was all about. Jamila's improved a great deal under Derek James. Derek is my pick of the train of the year. I've picked him already. Arias came with an undefeated record. He now has one blemish on the record against a potentially legendary fighter. I'd take that one loss. Legendary fighter. That's going a bit too far. Good fighter, yes. Elite fighter, well, there has to be some question marks about the elite bit. He's a world-class fighter. Whether Jacobs is an elite fighter, well, who did he beat to be considered elite? I'm not sure. I thought he beat GGG. Yeah, I know, but I know, but I don't know. Williams versus Smith was a piss-poor fight. Well, I didn't tune into it. Since 50 Cent has on his channel, do you think Deontay Wilder will make any appearance on his shows? I don't know. We're definitely trying our way to get Deontay back on the channel. So we'll see how that works out. But we definitely need to get Deontay on the channel. Barely rates Stavern. Okay, good for him. I'd say Jacobs is elite. I thought he beat GGG. Okay. Don't say that to GGG fans too loud. They're all in favour of Liam Smith. So far up his arse, they were milking him for another WBO title. Embarrassing. Barely above British level. Okay. You talked about Conor Benn being a smashing machine, yet beating Mexicans. I didn't talk about Conor Benn. I didn't talk about Conor Benn. I wasn't a big believer in Conor Benn, so not me, mate. Is Conor Benn going to become the unified 154 champion? I don't know about that bit. Kell Brook should move up to 154, get ranked by WBO, and wait for the winner of Liam Smith and whoever fights for the vacant title. It's a great chance. Okay. I had someone yesterday telling me GGG is the best middleweight ever with the best resume in boxing. I nearly passed out. Yeah, well. Brook is going into perma quick mode. His injuries are all very susceptible areas or susceptible areas. Okay, all right, fine. Where's Pira gone? I think Pira had a back injury. That's where he disappeared off to. Yeah. Right. Pira active tire injury. Right. Here we go. I'm going to use the next 10 minutes to do some research. And while you're in the room, I want to hear what people think about BWTM, things they like, things they want to see more of, things they don't like, things that make the channel successful, ways to increase subscriptions. And we know that we're going to be launching shortly. We haven't even launched yet. Once we do the launch, it'll be great. So I just want to hear, I'm going to use the next 5-10 minutes to just get general questions asked and what people think and how people can, what people think in the room. Well, I've got 30 people in the room watching. Ask questions. And I want to do a ladies' night as well. I don't know how I'm going to quite do that. I'm going to do a ladies' night of boxing. So female boxers and the most powerful women in boxing. I'd like to do a show on that. I think that'd be quite interesting. I would like to see Ingram retire. Terrible YouTuber. Thank you, Ross Clark. That'd be very nice. Warren wouldn't do the cross promotion for Brook and Smith. They avoided Crawler and Flanagan for the same reasons. And Tet versus Burnett. Okay. You'd like to see me retire. That's nice for you. Okay. Well, that's not going to happen. More cricket. Adam Ali. Okay. Adam. Are you the Adam Ali? Are you the Adam Ali that I knew? I'd like to see you do a pound for pound list. Okay. All right. Pound for pound list. Maybe we could do that. What else? More discussions about Deontay Wilder. Well, yeah, I guess we could do that. I think the best discussion to have about Deontay Wilder is to have Deontay Wilder back in the house. So we're working on trying to get Deontay back in the house. You would like to see him retire. Why are you in here listening to him then? LOL. Break down the heavyweight top 30 like boxing gossip. I think what I've tried to do in the past when we did the heavyweights is rather than doing a breakdown of them, is to actually have them on the channel. So at one point we had most of the top 10 in the heavyweight division either on the channel or passing through the channel. So we had, let's think all the heavyweights we've had on the channel. Tyson Fury, Bryant Jennings, okay, hang on. Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, Bermain Stavern, Hughie Fury, Amir Mansour, Tony Grano, Seth Mitchell, who else? Bryant Jennings. Who else have we had in heavyweight division? We talked about Hughie Fury. Who else? So we had 9 heavyweights. They include their Ruben Visser, Vlad Serenko, Owen Beck. So we had about 11. Shannon Briggs, 12, 13. So we've had a lot of the heavyweights. Let's see what people are saying. Same for each division. I'd like to see Ingram retire when he's around 80. More open discussions. Okay. More open discussions. What do you mean by that, Mike? I'm interested in that. No. Less cricket, for Christ's sake. Interview with Jura Miller would be funny. Okay. Your cousin Defoe, right? Yep, definitely. Like to see more of your friend Alan on the channel. Oh, you liked Alan, did you? You liked Alan? Okay. Film nights. When we all watch a film of a popular demand and watch together, comment on it, etc. Ingram live commentary. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking of doing a old fights. I don't know how I'm going to quite do it yet, where we can stream the fight, watch the fight, and then stream it. I am going to start trying to get live events here as well. Punch of the month, top 10 knockdown countdown. Okay. Like odd Julian Jackson fights. Okay. Hello, just seen your other video, Amir Khan going into the jungle. Thank you. Adam Ali, smile. Miller interview would be hilarious. It would. Have more interviews with boxers at boxing shows, visit them at gyms, etc. Yes, that is coming. We're going to go back that way again very soon. Don't you also do football content? I have done. I'm going to do more. Boxing Gossip is decent. Should do a collab with him. I have done many collabs with Boxing Gossip before. I'm the king of collabs. I am the king of collabs. How many collaborations have I done across the YouTube galaxy? White people going to vote for him. No, white people going to vote for him to do all the trials. LOL. I'm not sure what that means. Like have like chats on what watches to fight. Pay-per-view history of boxing review interesting. Okay. Do more collabs of boxing gossip. Okay, we'll do videos every day covering the Ashes. Now, I was actually thinking of talking to my old mate Adam Hollyoak to do a cricket special. So I might try and talk to the former England captain, Don Charles, and Derek Chisora interview would be good. Okay. Ali Adams. Who remembers Ali Adams? Hey, listen. If you want to listen to something and you want to have a good laugh and a real good, that was probably the most epic boxing interviews I've done series. It was Ali Adams, Steve Goodwin, and Don Charles. This is the story. Ali Adams got caught with PEDs. Now, Ali Adams told me he got an injection in his neck. Then I did the interview with Don Charles. Don Charles said he got the injection up his bum. Then I talked to Steve Goodwin, who said he went to see him, they went to the British Boxing Border Control together. Listen, that was a 4-part series, and it was a 2-part series, myself and Don Charles and me. Well, we bumped heads through it, and because I said a few things and he said a few things back. It's good though, it's good quality stuff. So I think you should definitely go and listen to that. It was a 2-part Don Charles interview. Oh man. Back in 2013. Could you also go through all the divisions and see what British fighters there are in those divisions? Okay, so it's going through the divisions. People are do a darts and live show of Chris Mason's. That's coming soon. I'd like to see a show of trainers discussing maybe Derek, Ali, Bashir, and Sanchez if possible. Yes, that's very possible. Formula One videos. I don't know if that's going to happen. I could try. I was so good at cricket, was going to be signed to Yorkshire Pathways, but I retired early. Yeah, I was pretty good at my cricket as well, but I was a damn good coach. Very good coach. Coach cricket from grassroots level right up to international cricket. So I'll have to get some of those videos out again. Adam Ali, drugs cheat interview was amazing. Yeah, you need to go back and you guys need to listen to that. Don Charles' reply was even better. Oh, that was an interview. Listen, go back and listen to the Tyson Fury interview where he makes a prediction about David Price. Man, that was unbelievable. When are you going to have Russell Hartley back on show? Not for the foreseeable future. That's as much as I can say about that one. I don't think Russell Hartley's going to be back on the show. Not for the foreseeable future, I'm afraid to say. I'm sorry, that's just the way it goes sometimes. Would be great to get Mick Hennessy Raw on the show. Great. Mark C says subscribe. Thank you so much, Mark. Appreciate you. Do a documentary show with Russ Hartley on what he does day to day as a matchmaker. Your next time, Sheffield. Don't think it's going to happen somehow. Unlikely. Sorry. I know you loved Russell Hartley, but I don't think it's going to happen. Unfortunately, Ingram maybe Ingram. I'm just going to go in a different direction, to be honest. Maybe Ingram can ask Hennessy to promote BWTM. In fact, if he did BWTM, you guys are terrible. Oh man. My favorite bowler ever was Malinga. Okay, all right. I liked Ian Bishop, one of my favorite bowlers. I actually got to meet Michael Holding. That was an amazing experience. Isaac Dugbo was a good interview. There, it's good. I tell you, I liked Melissa. Melissa was pretty good on the show with AJ Carter. That was good. Get Dave Allen back. Yeah. Why not Russ? Is it because of the claims of racism? No, I didn't claim he was racist. What you fall out of Russ? I won't call it a fallout, just I think a difference of opinion, you'd say. Let's see. Hennessy LOL. Viv Richards, best batsman. He was my favourite batsman, legend. Have you met Flintoff? No. But I have met I've met a lot of guys actually. I've worked with a lot of guys. I met Shewag the week that they brought him back into world cricket. And I worked with him for 2 days. I've got loads of photographs of some of the Australian players as well. Worked with them. I think on my Facebook page. Actually, if you were to tweet my name, if you type my name in Google and typed in cricket, you'd see all the pictures of all the Indian players I've been with and worked with. So you'd see it. Hugh showed shades of Ali against Price. That's a statement that I can't believe he said that. I mean, I like Fury, but that's terrible. Lloyd Hannigan. Wow, that'd be great. Get big, bad John Fury on would be quality gold. I love John Fury. I sat next to him when Hughie Fury fought the War Machine. It was an amazing experience. Love John Fury. Got a lot of time for him. Bermain claiming racism. I'm not sure about that. Not you, Ingram. I saw Twitter people said he was being racist. No, he wasn't. Should get ex-footballers to talk about the life. Think Leon McKenzie would be a good boxer footballer. Good. Yeah, crossover show. That'd be nice. Ingram, just tuned in. Heard you're going on. Sorry, get me out of here. I'm going on there. I'm not going on there. Amir Khan is, not me. Thoughts on Nathan Gorman yesterday? How many rounds does he go with Dubois? Don't know. Ingram versus Khan Bush Tucker challenge. Curtis Woodhouse talking boxing football and his thoughts on becoming boxer would be good. Okay, Curtis Woodhouse on. He would be a fantastic interview on his football career, current boxing career, current football management career, his weight loss and road to the boxing. That'd be great. Type your name in Google and Bermain's cop comes up. Oh dear me. James Smith, you are an idiot. Bye, James. Nice not knowing you. There's always one idiot that comes in the room. Get I walk this earth like a god or king. Oh, I've got it. Now, that would be a great interview, I think. Get Josh. I've heard about Josh Landlin on. He's a Halifax heavyweight, exceeded expectations so far, but struggling for sponsors and needs exposure. Josh Sanderland. Okay. I'll have a look at him. Very good stuff. Son of Alan Smith, I bet. I was surprised Little beat Sandland. Little had good 27. Eric Molina was a cool guy when you interviewed him. He was. Get your wife on your channel. Give us guys more advice. Just go on her channel and get that. Get Kirtland Lang. Dang, that'd be something. It was me who helped Bunsey get the bloody interview in the first place with Kirtland Lang. His Twitter is at D Sunderland on the road. He beat Akinlade 60-55 and just got robbed against Tom Little. Okay, all right. Okay, I'll have a look at him. Okay. Okay, what else? So I've heard some of the interviews you guys like. You like the Molina interview. More live streams and fresh content, I would imagine, should help you grow your channel. I'm new on your channel. I've tuned in for the live stream. Thank you very much. More live streams with fresh content. Okay. Our Coley Reed Chamberlain's been made for Hay Bellew undercard. No, it's February 3rd, I understand. Well, we're working to get Lawrence Okoli on the show. Mahib trains in the same gym as Lawrence Okoli. So that'd be interesting. Was it a robbery for real? I've never seen the fight. Okay. So Mark C, when you talk about fresh content, explain what you mean. Daily topics, daily whatever. You see, I think it's got to a point where it's a lot. You've got, think about it, BWTM has its sports channel, it's got its news channel, it's got a gaming channel. Those are the three channels. For you to have those three channels up and up around, I mean that's a lot. So definitely need more help and more people to come onto the channel. That would be great. That'd be really great if we if you know, obviously I've got to talk to people, not me, but I've got to talk to people that are behind the station. In England, where in England did you coach? Right, let's think. I worked at Lords. I worked in Buckinghamshire. If you type in my name, Ingram Jones, and type in community champions, you would see a documentary that was done with me. In 2010-11, there was a competition to find people who did work in their communities. And do you have a job outside BWTM, Ingram? A job outside BWTM. I'm still training. I'm still studying. So finishing my journalism course up, and some other things I'm doing as well. So I'm studying still. So once I get that done, completed, then yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing more work outside of BWTM. So why don't you get Wingy on your channel? I take it you're not a fan of Wingy. I think I've tried to get Wingy before. I guess maybe we could do something like that in the future. I'll have a word with Dylan, try and get him on your channel. Yeah, it'd be nice to get Dylan on the channel, actually. I'd like to hear his perspective, I think, because I think I remember meeting Dylan years ago, and that was when Dylan was he was still banned from boxing. And I remember meeting him, and he said to me he couldn't talk to me then because obviously he was still on the ban, and yeah, just cross paths, you know. Triple is, I think your content is good and always up to date, and your interviews are good interviews. Keep it up. Any vacancies? Any vacancies? That's an interesting point, actually. Dillian White Gold does a great interview. He does. I just wish that Dillian White's interviews would transfer into the ring. And I wonder if he spent less time doing interviews and doing more time actually fighting. I don't know. I just think there's still something missing with Dillian White. I think he should change his trainer. I think he should change his promoter. Oh, Dan Raphael. I think I did interview Dan Raphael, actually. I've interviewed Dan Raphael. Dan Raphael Carson Jones comes off. Bruno. Big Frank Bruno. I remember working with there's a Frank Bruno Boxing Academy in the UK. Of course, it's in the UK, in Kent. And I remember being part of the team. It was myself, Ben Doughty was part of that team. It was myself and Julius Francis would go into schools together doing coaching. Julius Francis, the former British heavyweight champion, and me and Julius would spend hours joking and laughing and talking about boxing and talking about when he fought Mike Tyson, and we talked to all sorts of things. Do you coach cricket in Ireland? Yes, I do. I do coach cricket in Ireland. Miller White trash talk would be fun. Both be rated. Darren Goff interview. Really? Why? Why would you want to talk to Darren Goff? I mean, Goff was okay. He wasn't great. I mean, he was all right. I'd rather talk to Michael Vaughan. Now, that's an interview I'd love to get. Michael Vaughan. I love Michael Vaughan. But he's excellent captain, brilliant cricket batsman. Get the Eubanks. You know him, right? From your Brighton days, of course. The Ingram Jones Appreciation Night. Well, yeah, great. Yeah, you got idiots like James Smith coming on. I'm not sure that would work too well. Get the Eubanks. You know them from your Brighton days, of course. I'd love to get the Eubanks. I think, in fact, it's not a love to get the Eubanks. I just think I would love to get them, but you see, I think He's on Talk Sport and his sports boxing. I know, actually, talking about Talk Sport, I know not Adrian Durran, but I know one of the guys on Talk Sport. I used to coach their son up in Muswell Hill. So if anybody can remember, he's of North lad of from North London, Muswell Hill. It was Winchmore Hill Cricket Club I was coaching at the time. I want AJ on the channel. If they can do Fury and Wilder and Stavern, why can't AJ come on? Prince Patel, he was a legend for a month. Talk to guys in Finchley ABC. I remember Finchley ABC, and I didn't have pleasant memories for me in Finchley ABC. Andy Jacobs, Phil Hawksby. Hawksby? Jason Cundy. Either Hawksby or Cundy. I think it could be Hawksby. Could be Hawksby that I trained his son. I think it's Hawksby, you know. Yes, Mr. Boxing Today. Hey, bro, where are you, man? You need to come in my room. You keep ducking me, man. You need to come in my room and talk boxing with me, man. You need to come in the room and talk some boxing with me, bro. We were just talking about big time collaborations, and we need to get you. We need to get you in the room. We need to talk, but we need to get you talking boxing, man. You got some time? You got 15 minutes to spare? You're a legend. Um, get Barry Jones. Yeah, I think if I get not if when I get Barry again, I think that's a sit down interview. Barry Jones is a sit down interview. Yeah, Barry Jones. I think more collabs with Mr. Boxing. Maybe have heavyweight segment each week. Definitely. AJ came to my college. Send me a link. Oh, we're gonna get Mr. Boxing in the room. Yes. Hold on. Yes, let's get Mr. Boxing. So you never know what's gonna happen. BWTN Sports. See, when you talk about getting interviews and people in the room, now this is what, no disrespect to our other guests, but this is what I call, this is kind of like celebrity status. This is what I talk about proper. So what are you getting excited for? It's only Mr. Boxing Today. I'll tell you about the Finchley story in a second. It was actually back in the day, a long time ago, and I remember going to that gym. Yeah, I swear, I went to that gym for. Let me think. I must have been at gym. I went to that gym 4 times. I went to that gym 4 times. No lie, I went to that gym 4 times, and they were only interested in their star fighters. Yes, I understand that, and that's great. What I had a problem with was that I was at the time a newbie, and they just had no sort of no care in the world for anybody else but their star fighters, and I had a problem with that, so I left them. But I remember at West Ham, it was very different. West Ham boxing gym. Listen, there's no stars at West Ham boxing. Just sling you in the ring, man. Oh, what an experience West Ham boxing gym was. Great experience. Great guys at the West Ham boxing gym. Um, and shout out to my man Wayne Llewellyn. Does boxing for schools in Kent. Fantastic stuff, which is also part of the Frank Bruno Boxing Academy, which I was talking about earlier, with Julius Francis. So shout out to them. That's definitely a show I need to do. One of. And by the way, I did a live show from Sheffield once. Check that out, Sheffield Boxing Club. Check that out. You'll get to meet the boxing club. They talk about the various legends that went into that gym, and it was hosted by Glenn Rhodes. You need to check that video out. Absolutely real great time I had there. Let's see, Mr. Boxing Today. I can contact Stanley if you ever want. Yes, get him. Bring him on. Send it to your Twitter page, bro. I'd like to see a review on Amir Khan's journey in the jungle. All right. I can contact Sunderland if you ever want an interview, Ingram. If so, I will direct him your way. Yes, get it for me ASAP. Amir Khan says he's training in the jungle, ready for February fight. You're joking. I want to know anything and everything going on in the boxing world, all trending topics. For instance, Anthony Joshua's recent response to Deontay Wilder. That's a headline that draws my interest. Okay, fresh content. Okay, thank you for that. Barry Smith, Louis Van Gaal. No time for video. Long time no video. I'd like to see if okay, got that. Khan would run from the insects. Mikey hook up with Tyron Nurse interview. They are putting some skits in the jungle too. Hope Khan is a good boy. I can do with Nurse too. LOL. He just got back with his wife. Yeah, that's not good, is it? Dude just gets back with his wife. He's going to the jungle. Could put Della Smith in there, and he would still try. A Lou DiBella interview would be jokes. I tell you a story about Lou DiBella actually. A short story. I remember ringing Lou DiBella. This is going back a few years ago. We were trying to do some live streaming, and I was going to try and contact Lou DiBella, and he just had me running around in circles. So Ingram, you should get fans to call in after big fight, and you'd get their views. Let them rage or create controversy, kind of like Talksport, but they don't do boxing too well. I think you'd fill the gap. Yeah, I could do that. Could definitely do that. Definitely do that. Do you want the Farrell Markham interview? AJ says he has access and can link her up to the channel. LOL. Any chance of you trying to get an Eric Sokoland interview, Ingram? He's some character. Okay. BWTM, what do you make of Josh Taylor? Stopped a fight in his 11th fight that Canelo couldn't stop. Great respect for Josh Taylor. Talked about early on. I think he's a fantastic fighter. I think he'll go along the same lines of Carl Frampton if they don't rush him. Watch Khan get voted to do the trials. Luke DiBella versus Eddie Hearn versus Rick Glazer. Mouthful and pay-per-view. I reckon Khan will be sniffing around another girl in the jungle. It's all a work, and they'll be ready. Reality show coming with them. Joe Barton talking boxing is painful. Gemma Collins on her sporting career. Great. Just waiting for Mr. Boxing Today to make his return to BWTM Sports. I think I sent him the link. So just waiting for him to jump in the room. And it would be great to have him in the room. Frank, you know what? The Frank Maloney interview, we were on the verge of getting that interview. We had it all lined up. And then Price went and got knocked out by Tony Thompson. And that was that. Well, that was the time where I interviewed Tyson Fury day one. Day two, I interviewed David Price's trainer, Franny Smith. He said we'd walk through Fury, and of course that caused some problems with the Fury family. And then after that, then he got knocked out, didn't he? So never happened. Amir Khan is self-obsessed and begs for fame. Mr. Boxing Today, Kerry Maloney versus Frank Maloney. Sokoland, hello, he's just fought Callum. Yeah, I feel that all UK fighters need to prove themselves in the States. Just my thoughts. Agree. Just send it to my email, bro. I can't open it off my Twitter. Mr. Boxing Today, Gmail. Okay, I'll do it now. Mr. Boxing Today. Let me check that again. Okay. Just sitting it, bro. Sutherland faces Rocky Stocky Fielding on Hey Bellew card. Rather take part in a salad eating contest in Kelly Malone interview. OJ Simpson, Danny Dubois yard interview would be great. Well, the Anthony Yard interview I should get quite easily because of his trainer, Babatunde. Is it Babatunde? No, not Babatunde. The other guy, Tunde. I'm good. I know Tunde pretty well. I know he listens to the channel, and I did do an interview with. I did an interview with Jim Watt. Listen to this. I did an interview with Jim Watt. I did an interview with what's his name? The guy from South Africa. I can see him now. He fought Stevenson, and Stevenson could knock him out. He was super middleweight champion. He was in Australia, but he's Cameroonian, super middleweight. I interviewed him as well. I mean, about 4 or 5 people. Tunde Ajayi, that's the boy. I've never seen an interview with a boxing referee from you, Ingram. Yeah, well, Larry Merchant versus Floyd Mayweather interview. Oh, by the way, did anyone listen to the spoof interview we did with Floyd Mayweather? That was probably one of the best interviews ever. If you haven't listened to it, please check it out. Floyd Mayweather spoof. And it's myself talking to Floyd Mayweather when he's having a massage. And it's just before he was about to fight Pacquiao. Bring Stavern back again. Let's Stavern enjoy his Christmas, I think. And then we'll see him in the new year. Unless he's got something to tell us. I know he's got lots of stuff to tell us, but we have to wait. But I think things are going to get quite tasty around Mr. Stavern soon. Stavern is woeful. Well, that performance was woeful. So, yeah. Okay. Let's wait for Mr. Boxing. I've sent the email to you. Did you get it? I hope you got it. No, we don't want Bermain having too much of a break. That's the problem the first time round. You had too much of a break. 2 years is too long a down break. Did you get the email, Mr. Boxing Today? What did Bermain tell you off the record? Let Bermain get his shit together, get his mind back 100% and explode with these idiots. Based on what Savern told you, do you ever see him being a legit champion again? Oh, contender. Yeah, I do see him being a legit contender. I mean, you got beat by Wilder. It's just how much is left. Really, how much is left? But he got beat by arguably the best heavyweight in the world, outside of Tyson Fury and Joshua. Stavern, whether you like him or loathe him, the man is a no ducker and a straight shooter. Wallace Barnick hand hits harder. Stavern lost in a way White will also lose. He ain't done. I don't think he's done. Let me see. Let's be honest about Stavern. The guy got beaten badly in sparring recently by a guy who's got one pro fight. I don't know how true that is. Stavern is 40. He can't go on forever. White is 10 years younger. Joyce is a very experienced amateur. I'd like to see Bermain leave Don King. No comment. Okay, let me see if I can just get my Gmail up. And then send the email that way. Oh. Just trying to get the link for Mr. Boxing today. I'm going to try it again. View this. Okay, I'm going to send you a link again, Mr. Boxing today. Don't worry. I've sent it directly to your email address. I tried to send it via the Hangouts, but it didn't come out well. All right, let's try this instead. Bang. Now, you should get it this time, Mr. Boxing today. Bermain is 100% leaving Don King. I think Dillian versus Stavern would be an excellent fight. Ingram just made it bait. LOL. White destroys Stavern. Can I ask a question? Who has Dillian White ever destroyed? AJ, Al Heyman interview. LOL. White couldn't destroy Walker. What does Ingram think of Sun King? Who's the donkey now? Dillian White Miller would be a sloppy mess. Maybe Mikey, but he does Stavern. Disagree. Stavern fights well against guys his size. There we go. So Don Charles leave Chisora? That's a good question. I don't know, to be honest. I really don't know if he did leave Chisora. Do you think Chisora, who recently lost against Ajit, could beat Miller? No, I don't. Still knocked White out, right hand over the top. Depends how much Bermain has left. I think it would be difficult to match now. Linares stops Stavern. Oh dear. Check your email again, Mr. Boxing today. Don Charles just had a visa issue, that's all. Really? I think he had I didn't know he had a visa issue. A visa issue to go to Monaco? That's France, isn't it? Chisora team wasn't good in Monaco. Well, that's the same team he had before, didn't he? It was like the team he went to before. He left Don Charles. He looked like the same team again. I just sent you the email, Mr. Boxing today. Yeah, Steve. Who got Robert Easter versus Mikey Garcia? Actually, the guy who fought Robert Easter, what's his name again? Oh, fought him for the world. The Robert Easter, the guy fought for the world title. I interviewed him. I forgot the boy's name again. And he was training only in Essex. Jacob Gosgello, what a crazy night that was. Yeah. Richard Comey, that's it. Yeah, African dude, yeah. Then Richard Comey, yeah. I interviewed Comey. That's another Baylor classic there. Back in the day. Do you know who has gone missing? I've never heard nothing of. Mitchell Smith. What happened to Mitchell Smith? Does anyone know where Mitchell Smith is? I know he's training with Adam Booth. Don Charles was on Sky Sports 3 days before the Chisora fight. He was on the podcast talking about Chisora, then didn't show up for the fight. They fell out. Think Garcia ices Easter. Okay, possibly. He's a damn good fighter, though. Where's Mr. Boxing Today? I think Mr. Boxing Today's ducked out. Mitchell Smith has been effed off by Warren, it seems, ever since he lost to Jupp. He's been inactive and fought Journeyman. I don't see you email for you. I just said, yeah, there is one. I just sent it to you. It's Ingram and Atia. Check that one. I just sent it a second ago to you. I know he's waiting, and I'm trying to get him in the room. Mr. Box is ducking Ingram hard. Well, I don't know where. Send me your email address again, bro. I've sent. I swear, I just sent you the email. Literally 30 seconds ago, I sent the email to you. I see what happened. My fault. My mistake. I put Mr. Rocks in today. What? Oh. What is this? Oh my gosh. I'm trying to send this tweet. Yeah, and just. What's that? Let's try this now. Right. This has got to be the one. Right. No ducking. Just I sent it to the wrong email address. Try that now. My apologies. Try that. Right. Mitchell Smith will have nightmares at Josh Warrington. When you are as exposed and arrogant as Smith, classic Ingram, LOL. If Wilder finishes his career, get it to go, Ingram, FFS. It says Tone, thank you, Tone. Smith actually has talent, though. It seems he's matured a lot now. Well, I like Leon Walsh. Taylor versus Postel for the vacant belt. Who you got? Man, Postel can't box. So, yeah, I think Taylor could beat Postel. Depends on who fights. Edged out. It's Jason Gavin 12 times. Remember when Tank starched Walsh and the Welsh brothers asked for a rematch in Vegas? I've just sent it to you, bro. Check it this time. Check your email this time. I've definitely sent it to you. I just sent it literally 30 seconds ago to you. Might be in his junk mail. He can be. Yeah, it could be in his deep junk mail, actually. Definitely sent it. Let me see what my email says. Definitely see sent. Mr. Boxing Today. Subject. It's clinks there. Okay. I'm hearing something.
There we go. What's up, man?
Yes, bro. Welcome to the room.
What's up? What's up?
So for people
Finally,
who finally, yeah, for people who don't know who you are, Jess, introduce yourself. The floor is yours.
Mr. Boxing Today 2. I've had this channel up for about 2 years, but I've been active on it for like a year and a half. Had the first channel, Mr. Boxing, in 2010. So I've been here close to 8 years, man, talking about the heavyweight scene here on YouTube.
Okay. Well, where shall we begin? Do you want to go back to that that incident that happened last Saturday?
The incident. Uh,
The assault.
right, right. I mean, I thought that Stavern would put up a better fight than he did,
Mm-hmm.
but he pretty much, in my opinion, man, stylistically, he came out the same way he did in the first fight. And that was he was trying to take a whole bunch of jabs, trying to pick his spots and wait for his moment to throw overhand rights, overhand lefts. But unfortunately for him, this time, that first right hand, I never thought he'd recover from. Although he was getting up and he was telling the ref he was okay and he got hit behind the head. I think the ref asked him what state he was in. I heard him say New York. Uh, but he never really recovered from that first right hand, man. That's just how I feel about that. But he came out stylistically the same way as the first fight, which I thought was doomsday for him, which
Mm-hmm.
was try to sit on the outside and just take jabs all night.
Well, I said in the commentary, I said if Stavern decides to stand on the outside and let Deontay Wilder bow and arrow him, quite literally, left hand and then bring the right hand back and boom, like a bow and arrow, quite literally. If he did that, then he's going to find himself on the canvas and deserves to get knocked out. I said that in my commentary, and somebody said, "How could I say that?" I said, "Well, I'm not. I'm being non-biased. How can you say that having Stavern on your channel for years, and now you're telling people now that Stavern deserves to get knocked out?" I said, "Well, if you decide to stand on the outside of a guy's jab and a right hand, because he knocks everybody out like that."
hmm
So I
It's
said,
just a
"Well,
stylistic nightmare.
yeah, exactly. So if you decide to go and do that, you're going to get yourself knocked out."
Yeah, I
So
thought I thought the best way for Stavern, although it's kind of doesn't mean anything now, but I thought the best way for him to fight Wilder was kind of the way the that one guy fought him in the amateur, Romanov. Forgot the guy's name, but the guy that stopped Wilder, he was
yes,
actually when Wilder, and I know Wilder's a different fighter, so I know somebody say he's a different fighter. No, yeah, he's a different fighter, but his jab is still a jab. And when he was throwing his jab out there, the guy was just automatically throwing overhand rights. He wasn't waiting; he was just throwing it automatically. And I think you're gonna have to attack Wilder, man. You can't just sit out there and just let him get off and then try to pick your spots. Even if you have an iron chin, you may just get outpointed. And in the first fight, Stavern showed he had the chin to stand up to what Wilder was throwing. Although he did get hurt, I believe that was the second round he got hurt, second or third round when he
mm-hmm.
tackled him. But um, yeah, man, he had the wrong mindset going into the fight, in my opinion. I know Stavern to disagree, but just from the outside looking in, that's what it looked like.
It seemed the same way too. He said the next talking point was his weight. He said that he had a breakfast. People said, what kind of what food did he eat? He was two. He said he said he was 2:45 in the morning. But he said he couldn't wait until the afternoon because it was a late weigh-in, so he had something to eat. So he got from 2:45 to 2:54 when he got to the weigh-in. Your thoughts?
If he says so, I mean, that's one of them things where it's like, okay, but I mean, if that's what Stavern says, man, whether he was 245 or 265, he just fought the wrong style. That's just to me, that's what it boils down to. To tell you the truth, when I did my video about the weigh-in,
Mm-hmm.
even though he came into 254, I was like, man, he still looks the same pretty much. Probably a little extra pudge around the sides of his belly, but that's how Stavern has always looked. Even when he came in at 239, I believe it was the second Ariola fight. Somebody
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong. I think he was 239 for that one. He looked pretty much the same to me.
Uh, Don House as a trainer. Your thoughts?
Very knowledgeable. It's just that, he was going in an uphill battle, man. In my opinion, Wilder's the better fighter. So he's trying to motivate and train a guy to beat somebody who is a favorite against him, guy who has the reach advantage. It seems as if he has the power advantage, just a fresher guy. So it's kind of an uphill battle. But Don House is a knowledgeable guy. I mean, I'm not going to discredit him because Stavern got beat by Deontay Wilder. I think that House was telling him the right things. When I seen him working on the mitts, the different combinations they were working on were all combinations that Stavern needed. Get close, get in his chest, and work overhand rights, overhand lefts, and body shots. So from what I seen from the outside, it looked like he was preparing him well. Some people may argue, how can he have him going there out of shape like that? I guess Don House was under the same impression that I was because I always see Stavern on Instagram for like the last year, man,
Yeah.
sparring down at the heavyweight factory, working out. But I guess there's a difference between Instagram working out and actually for real, So I like
I
Don
don't
House.
get it. A whole year preparing for a fight, and then that happens. I mean, you're scratching your head and wondering what the hell was going on.
Yep.
I managed to get the hookup with Bashir and Stavern. Were you aware of that?
Oh, they're going to work with each other?
They were working with each other before the fight for the return, the Wilder rematch.
Oh, okay. I didn't know they're working together. I know I heard you guys on. I thought fans were more asking, would they hook up?
No, they
But
did.
oh, okay. I guess Bashir, maybe Stavern may need, and it's not against Don House, but maybe he just may need to listen to somebody fresh. You know what I mean? Like a new voice. Sometimes boxers do that, man. They probably need a new voice. But to me, when you start needing all these new voices, that could work. But I kind of look at that as the fighter. Are you
Yeah,
motivated? Because a trainer can only tell you so much, man. Throw a right hand, throw a left hook. And at this stage, trainers shouldn't have to tell elite level guys who's fighting at the elite levels to train hard, to stay fit in between fights. That's
yeah.
something that boils down to the fighter.
So the future for Mr. Stavern, in your opinion?
Well, he's not completely an old man, right? We know at the especially at the heavyweight division, 35 plus doesn't necessarily mean the graveyard.
Right.
Being that just the pace these guys are fighting at, how big they are, it's not necessarily the graveyard, but he's definitely going to have to not only feel great, because I really believe that when Stavern was working out training, he probably felt great. But then you have to compare that to your other camps where you really grind it. And I know as you get older, fighters always say I work smarter, not harder. But I think there's some guys there he can make entertaining fights with, Dillian White, Jarrell Miller, just based on their styles. White, Miller, Lucas Brown. There's still some fights out there for him, but from a fan's point of view, he's going to have a tough time trying to beat the guys like Joshua and Wilder. I just think those guys are a step above.
Okay. Says he's going to be back fighting February, March against a top 10 opponent.
I like to see it. He's coming off a crushing defeat, so hopefully before February or March, he can get in there like January and take on I'm trying to think of a guy, like a Jamal Woods or Avery Gibson or somebody like that.
Jamal Woods is fighting Bashir's fighter Ruhan Vissa next, I think, in a couple of weeks' time.
Okay, he better be careful, man. Woods is a guy that he can upset the apple cart, man. You better be ready. That guy, he's lost his fair share of fights, been knocked out, but he's one of those journeymen that he's in shape because he's fighting damn near every week. And but he can make it tricky for you though, man. Jamal Woods definitely one of those type of guys. One of those guys that give prospects. He'll either give you the full 6 or 8 rounds or however many rounds you're scheduled for, but he's a tricky guy.
But Bashir's sticking him in and says, look, I need to know how good my guy is. So he's sticking him in with that fight.
Exactly. So Bashir's he's smart because he knows Jamal Woods the type of guy to test his prospect.
Yeah, so that's good. Sorinko won over the weekend, I believe, as well.
Okay, I didn't get to see that. I haven't made a video in about a week, man. I've just been chilling, but I've been keeping up, trying to hit everybody's live streams. I was just on a live stream earlier today, so I'm trying to all the channels that I listen to, man, trying to just interact with other fans instead of just doing a video format. So I haven't seen that fight. I did see a few other. I did see Junior Fa, seen Nathan Gorman. Who else fought? Jarrell Miller. So I've seen a few of the heavyweight fights.
Okay, Sorinko. It was Sorinko that beat Woods unanimous decision.
Okay, see again. Yep.
Yeah,
So that's about right. That right there is about right. A unanimous decision. I wouldn't. Woods is a tough guy to knock out, man.
Okay, great. So I was going to ask you your thoughts on this, the Joshua fight with Takam. What are your thoughts on that?
I thought that Joshua showed a different element of his game, which was to be patient. Takam was doing a lot of moving at the waist and just a lot of movement. So it was smart on AJ's part not to go out there and rush shots and just miss all over the place and, burn his stamina. Because I do think, and I know everybody think he's Iron Man. There's nothing, what I mean? But the dude, if there's one of his flaws if I'm training a fighter, I would say, hey, I think we can push his stamina. Let's see how he, battle of attrition. All right. So, but I'm glad that he took his time. Takum's tough, man. He is tough. Even going into the Parker fight, I thought that was 50-50. That was my prediction. Takum's a tough dude to fight. His Povetkin fight is one of the best heavyweight fights of the last 10 years, in my opinion. But AJ did what he had to do. Then when he got his nose broke, I know it was a headbutt, but sometimes I like to see guys in those situations. Not that I want to see a fighter with his nose broke, but I just want to see him in those situations where there's a little bit of adversity. Is he going to fall apart? Is he going to blame his broken nose? And he didn't, man. He kind of patted it. He kind of squinted his eyes a little bit. The shit hurts, but he, kept going. But I thought the stoppage was premature. Not to say that it was a close fight, like they robbed Takam of going 12 to see what the scorecards were. No, I gave him one round. I think it was the 7th round I gave him. Gave him one round. I thought he should have went to the body a little bit more. But AJ at close range can throw good combinations. That's something people don't give him credit for. To me, AJ is best when he's at close range, not so much at his long range. I think his best bet is when he's at close range. And it's just too much for Takam. He was just breaking him down. And the ref stopped the fight. I thought it was premature.
What did you make of the scorecard? The scorecard's been shown before the fight even started of Joshua Takam.
The scorecards?
Yeah, the scorecards came up on the screen before the fight even begun.
Oh, I didn't even notice that, man. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it was up. I think they had it 117, 111 to Joshua against Takam.
Oh, I guess Takam had no way of winning that fight then, right? If it did go to
Yeah. So talk to me a bit more about the channels that you listen to and watch.
Man, it's a variety of channels. Your channel, I was just on with Kiwi Box. He's out of New Zealand. He's
Yes.
I got hooked on to his channel because maybe I give credit to myself, but I'm one of the few, just put it that way, one of the few guys over the last 8 years I've been here that just strictly cover the heavyweights.
Right.
And I see a lot of guys, they'll cover like the top 10. But Kiwi is a guy kind of like myself where he's literally covering 100 through 200. If you throw in the prospects, the fringe contenders, guys like that. So Kiwi Box out of New Zealand, Blood Boxing, 78 Sports, Sporting Icon. I mean, just pretty much a lot of channels. Boxing Beats and Rhymes, Hatman Strikes Back. I'm going to forget some people, man. Mr. Natty Turner 1,
Yes.
D-Style Boxing.
Yes.
Carcino when he was covering boxing, but I've been following Carcino since I've been around since that first batch of YouTubers like 07, 08. Even though I wasn't uploading, I was still watching their channels. And then I finally started to upload around about 2010. So if there's any guys that are left over from that group of guys, I still listen to all of those guys if they're still uploading. And I've listened to some of the newer channels, although I don't agree with everybody, which we're not supposed to. But I just like to hear opposing views. You know what I mean?
I would say the time I started listening to boxing was around the time they had Guard Your Grill Boxing, the original crew of Guard Your Grill Boxing. They used to have their weekly show. Do you remember Guard Your Grill Boxing?
Yes, I do. Of them, 97 Rough, Buddha Gambino. Gambino's hilarious. Gambino's hilarious.
Amazing. What happened to him?
He's hilarious. He doesn't upload enough, man. But he is hilarious when he starts. I know. I hate naming guys. I'm going to forget, man.
Julian Foster.
Dream Chasing Boxing is one of the newer guys to listen to.
Do you remember Julian Foster?
Huh?
Do you remember Julian Foster?
Yeah, Julian Foster. He used to do all the George Foreman versus Mike Tyson, like those type of videos. Yep, I remember Julian Foster.
Yeah. Wow. What about the Big Ragu?
Yeah, Big Ragu. I haven't seen him in a while. Wingy. I like Wingy too.
Okay, yeah, Wingy too. let's talk about the thing between British and American channels. What do you see? There's a difference between the two. Do you feel that British fighters stick with British channels, stick with British fighters, or do you think there's or an American fighters just stick with American fighters, or do you think there's some balance between the two countries in terms of YouTube?
I mean, right now, man, it's kind of reminding me of Pacquiao Mayweather. I'm sure you were around back then, and that right there made me take 2.5 years off. That's why I came back as Mr. Boxing Today too. On my first channel was Mr. Boxing, but it was getting so crazy, man. I had to just take time off YouTube. It was just like I can't deal with this. I just came to interact with fans, not to argue about fights that should be made. But right now, man, it's just that type of element right now on YouTube. There's a lot of the UK fans and bloggers. They want to big up their guy and, go against the guys that are supporting Wilder. And the same thing with the guys that are supporting Wilder. To me, it's a good thing as long as we just keep it about the boxers and not get personal. But sometimes when you got guys going at it, it goes into, some personal stuff, man. So I stay out of that because, again, I'm just here to interact with fans. You know what I mean? And not make things personal. But I don't know, man. I really can't speak for other channels, man. When it comes to that, you have to ask them, man. But just from the outside looking in, just seems like they're going at it right now because of this fight. But that's a good thing because that lets you know how hot this fight is. And people say, "Oh, but that's just on social media." And I'm scratching my head like, dude, we're in the social media era. Like that means a lot that this fight's being talked about on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, any other platform. That's huge right now. It's not just there's like a couple hundred of us. There's thousands of us talking about this.
So let's put things in perspective. Take Tyson Fury out of the equation. I have to take him out of the equation because he has to be fit and sharp. We need to see what he can do in 2018, not what he did when he fought Klitschko those years ago. And we need to see what he's like now. Where do you place Wilder and Joshua in terms of 1 and 2, and why?
Right now, I would have Joshua number 1 because the simple fact that he has that name on his resume, Vladimir Klitschko. Now, a lot of fans will say, well, not a lot, but some fans will say, Mr. Boxing, he beat an old Klitschko. He hadn't fought in 2 years. He came off of a loss. And that's fair enough. But at the same time, it's still Vladimir Klitschko. And he was still formidable at the time. And he was still a top 5, top 3, top 4 type of heavyweight. And Joshua knocked him out. So you definitely got to give him the edge. And he's also a unified champion. And he has beaten Martin was undefeated. Cornish, White, Martin, Brazil. He's beaten about 5 undefeated guys right now. So definitely got to look at that. That's a la almost Vladimir Klitschko. Klitschko was doing the same thing when he was beating guys like Pulev and Jennings, and he fought Fury. Didn't beat him, but he fought Fury. Was Pianata undefeated when he beat him? He's beat a few undefeated guys. So I'll definitely put AJ number 1, but in my opinion, Wilder isn't like a distant second. He's just right at number 2.
Right. Okay, sounds great. Let's talk a bit more about heavyweights. I can't get my head around this. 2 fighters, Big Baby Miller and Dillian White, both workmanlike. In my opinion, both guys are decent fighters, but I've not seen them do anything spectacular yet. But there's lots of talk about both fighters. What's your take on both fighters?
All right, before I get to that, I just seen somebody in the comment section bring up boxing gossip. See, that's why I hate naming channels because I know I'm gonna forget somebody. But shouts out to Boxing Gossip, another excellent channel, covers a lot of heavyweight. I think he just did like a top 30, his top 30 for heavyweight. So he's definitely somebody else I'll follow. But as far as Miller versus White, as I seen somebody say in one of the comment sections, it's like a mirror of each other. They're both like the UK and USA versions of each other. Despite Miller's never been beaten in a fight, been knocked out in a fight. But as far as the fight itself, man, I think it's an entertaining fight. They'll both build the fight up. The banter will be great for us fans, and it'll be that type of banter where I don't think there will be chairs being thrown. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I think it'd be good, humorous. But I think they would be really wanting to get at each other in the ring. Stylistically, I say it's 50-50 because Miller doesn't seem Okay, well, WACH is kind of a hard guy to say you don't have power against, right? Because WACH is a hard guy to stop. So it's not
Yeah.
like he was in there with somebody who's been knocked out 8 times. Um, so I wouldn't say he doesn't have no power, but he doesn't seem to have like the one punch knockout power. Although he looked very devastating against Donovan Dennis, that was a massacre right there. But he's a good body puncher. Dillian White is another guy that's a good body puncher. So I think they would have a telephone booth type of fight. I think if anybody were to go backwards in a fight, I would say Dillian White, and I
Hmm.
think he's at his best coming forward. So I think it'd be a great, entertaining style clash.
Okay. Uh, Let me think. The heavyweight division at the moment. Tyson Fury and his comeback. What are your thoughts on that?
Tyson Fury.
Hmm.
Oh man, it's just, when this last time when he said he was coming back a few weeks ago, whatever, like a week ago. That's why I didn't do any videos on it. I'm like, yeah, I heard this 7 months ago. He's been saying this for a while. Then I got hyped up about that, and then he didn't return. Then he pretty much disappeared off social media for a few months. So I'll be more hyped up when he does an Instagram video showing his physique, and we can actually see that he's down to, 255 or 260 or whatever it is. But as of right now, it sounds good. It's great. I hope he comes back. I really do. I hope I hope I'm wrong. But right now it's just like it sounds great. That's pretty much it. It sounds great. But if he was to come back, man, stylistically, he gives a lot of these guys problems. Wilder, Joshua, he's just a big dude, man. I didn't think going into the Vladimir fight that he would be physical enough to outmuscle Vladimir on the inside. Vladimir's known to kind of jab, right hand, and clinch. And in the clinch, looked like Tyson Fury was getting the better of Vladimir Klitschko. So I was kind of surprised by Fury's strength. So right now, it just sounds great. Hopefully, he's serious.
Okay. What were your thoughts when Huey Fury fought Joseph Parker?
I thought that Fury did not. Uh, give me I thought that Huey Fury did not sit down on enough punches. He was literally like punching literally on the move, which is a good thing to do when you're throwing five, six, and sevens. He was literally throwing ones and twos, maybe one. He wasn't really committing to any punch. Parker was coming forward, trying to force the fight. He was landing some good shots, but Huey Fury, man, he was moving so much, he wasn't allowing himself to score, in my opinion. I thought he won some rounds. I didn't think it was a shutout, and I didn't think it was as wide as one of the judges had it. I had it seven. I think I had it 8-4 or 7-5 Parker. I don't think Fury got beat up in the fight, but to me, I thought he did himself injustice by just moving to the point where he wasn't allowing himself to throw combinations. I know he tried to mirror the like the Holmes and Ali type of styles, but if you go back and watch their fights, there's times where they actually plant their feet and they're throwing five, six, 7 punch combinations.
Okay, fair enough. Uh, the forgotten man of the heavyweight division, Bryant Jennings, BY, used to be a regular on this channel. Talk to me your thoughts on Bryant Jennings, where he fits in the picture.
He's tough, man. I think he's tough. He's definitely one of those guys, man. When I see him train, he definitely takes it serious. You can tell by his physique. He's always in excellent shape. I've seen him. He took part in Povetkin's training camp when Povetkin was getting ready for Stavern. The fight never came to fruition, but he was helping Povetkin out. I know Chisora was in that training camp too, but Jennings is always in shape. When I watch Jennings, I wish that he would use his reach a little bit more. The guy has an 84-inch reach, and he likes to put up the high guard and come forward, which is his prerogative, it's his style. But I think he needs to work the jab a little bit more. I think it help him out a lot. But definitely want to see him in there, man. He's with Top Rank, so I'm trying to see. I'm kind of scratching my head as to why his name has been brought up for Parker. I did hear Aaron mention it. Even the Ruiz fight, Ruiz is with Top Rank last I checked, so he should be getting in the mix of some of these fights, man. I know Aaron said signed Jennings that he wanted to get him 2 fights, then a possible shot with Parker. But that was in August, right before and Dongo Crawford undercard that he took part in. I
Right.
believe fought Daniel March that night. But I want to see Jennings in the mix, man. You put him in there with the Millers and the Brazils and Charles Martins and all those guys.
Okay. Let me ask you. Let me ask you an interesting question. If you became a free agent in the heavyweight division, I know even in the heavyweight division, who would you ask to become your promoter?
That's a good question. I know a lot of UK fans will say he better say Eddie Hearn. You know what I mean? But it just
No.
really depends, man. If I was out of the UK or in Europe, I'll most definitely go with Hearn.
Okay.
If I was over here in the US, I would want to be connected. Although he's not a promoter, but I would want to be connected with a promoter that is connected with Al Heyman. Definitely, because you're going to get the TV dates. He has a large stable of fighters, and those fights seem like they're easy to be made, and you can get some PBC coverage. So I guess it just depends where you're at. I see Miller signed with Hearn, and he's
Okay.
on HB.
Let's say Al Heyman's not isn't part of the equation. You can't go to Al Heyman.
Then I still think there's guys who you can work. DeBella, you know, well, I mean, I guess you're asking me if they're not with Heyman, but it's kind of hard because they're all with down with Heyman, it seems like. But Aram, Aram, I'll consider because he has his ESPN, so you can get some TV coverage. Um, but Eddie Hearn has to be up there, man. I've got to be honest with you. He has to be up there.
Okay, Hearn's not an option either.
Hearn's an option either. Oh,
It's not an option.
shit, man. You'll be kind of stuck. I'm not sure, man. I definitely wouldn't go to Golden Boy because they don't seem like they can promote heavyweights. It just seems like they're all into the small guys. And to be honest, just being honest with you, man, it seems like De La Hoya is more in promoting his Mexican fighters, which is his prerogative. That's
Yes.
what it seems. And I don't know, man. You'll be kind of stuck. Now I think you have to just take the Chitlin circuit route and just try to build your resume up, man, and try to just do it like that.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. What does I know there's talk about Parker versus Brown. What's the latest on that story?
Parker versus Brown. Yeah, the last I heard, seen Brown on Instagram saying that it's pretty much up to Parker now just to sign the contract and the fight to be made. But the last I checked by the WBO, he's not rated by the WBO. And we know the rankings can be bullshit at times, so I'm not going to harp on that because I see guys that are rated, and I'm scratching my head like, huh? How is he rated? But I think it's an interesting fight. It's funny how time changes, man, because just when Brown won that title against Chigayev and Parker and his team wanted to fight him, I remember Brown saying Parker needs to work his way up and he needs to deserve it and all this, blah, blah, blah. So it's funny how time changes. Now it's Brown the one that wants to fight. But I think down there in New Zealand, it'd be a good fight for, you know, that region, Australia, New Zealand. Both guys are undefeated. Brown isn't a guy that Parker would have to go looking for in the ring. I think Brown will bring the fight to him, or at the very least, he'll stay in there and trade with him. So I think it's an exciting fight. He's a hittable guy. You know what I mean? So I think there'll be fireworks, but he has a good right hand and left hook. But as far as the fight coming together, I haven't heard anything, man.
Okay. Pedvetkin is back. I did say Pedvetkin. What are your thoughts about him coming back and fighting Miller Hamer on the 15th of December?
Let me give a quick shout out to Trap House Boxing. I see him in the comment section. He's another guy that I listen to.
Yeah, shout out to Trap House Boxing. Apologies.
See, Ingram, man, that's like one of the main guys. Because I know I was gonna forget people, man. But shout out to Trap House.
Okay.
As far as Povetkin, though, him coming back. Oh boy, I just hope he can be clean. I know a lot of people argue and say it was a conspiracy, whatever. But my thoughts about him is my same thoughts about Ortiz. I want these guys to come back because 5, 6, 7 years from now, I don't want people saying whether it's AJ or Wilder or Parker, whoever prevails as the guy. I don't want those guys to be looked at and say, well, he didn't fight Povetkin or he didn't fight Ortiz. I would rather see Povetkin, Ortiz, guys like that. I'd rather see them get knocked off in the ring than knocked off outside the ring, just so there's no discrepancies and we can get these guys their shots. And to tell you the truth, man, if it wasn't for these faulty drug tests, Povetkin, he's a top 5 heavyweight, in my opinion. Before the Wilder and Povetkin negotiation started, I did a video 2 years ago where I thought that Povetkin had the second best resume and Vlad was first. So I always thought highly of Povetkin. Once these drug tests start coming to effect, it just makes you scratch your head and kind of question everything that he's done. For me, it does. But him coming back is not a surprise. I think he will shoot up the rankings sooner or later. And from what I'm hearing, this fight with Christian Hammer, the mandatory for Parker. So I'm not surprised.
I'd like to see Povetkin first fight Ortiz, to be honest. Sort that situation out.
Yeah, that's a good way to cancel it out. That's a good way to cancel one of them out.
Who wins?
Oh, man. That's a tough one, man. Both guys, man, I really don't know. That was a tough one right there.
It's the battle of the Peds. So Ortiz's Peds versus Povetkin's Peds.
You said it, not me, right?
Well, they've both been banned for something at some point in time. So hey.
Yeah, I think stylistically though, man, I really don't know, man. It's really hard to call that one because Povetkin is a guy that wants to get inside, wants to throw the overhand rights, overhand lefts type of guy, and he bends his head down a lot. Ortiz is excellent with that uppercut, that counter left uppercut that he throws. Maybe he can walk Povetkin into some uppercuts and then finish it off with with overhand rights. But Povetkin's a tough guy, man, and he can be patient, more patient than people think he can. He isn't just a complete come forward plotter. He will sit on the outside, try to peck away with jabs here and there. To me, it's a toss-up, to tell you the truth. I think Ortiz Povetkin is a toss-up.
Ortiz's chin hasn't been tested by a real puncher yet. Which heavyweight puncher, noted puncher, has Ortiz fought in his career?
Man, I think the best puncher he's fought,
Bryant Jennings.
Jennings, yeah. I think that's the best brawl fighter he's fought.
That's what I'm saying. So you look at Povetkin, who can punch, versus Ortiz, whose chin is still questionable because nobody's really seen if he can actually take a punch. But everyone's praising this guy like he's the second coming of Muhammad Ali. And I don't get it. I've never seen why people rate Ortiz as high as they do. I mean, one of the things you need to know about your fight is, can he actually take a punch? I mean, from a big puncher. Because that's a key point of a fighter's anatomy. Because if they can't take a punch, it's all right them dishing it out. Eventually, you're going to get hit on the chin. And when they get hit on the chin, then it'll fall apart and you've got a problem. Yeah, so go ahead.
That's a good point. I think one of the reasons I rate him high, I can't speak for everybody, is because the amateur experience, he has power himself. Whether he can take a power shot or not, I guess that's up for debate, but he can punch, so I'll definitely give him a chance on that. He has, although he isn't the quickest guy, he doesn't move like Pernell Whitaker or Floyd Mayweather, but he does have good defense. He's very patient in there. Even when Jennings was trying to bring the fight to him, he stayed very patient. And that lets you know the guy has a lot of experience when he can stay that patient under fire. Although Jennings isn't a huge puncher, so it wasn't like he was, avoiding bombs, like big bombs, but Jennings can punch. And I think the southpaw stance will throw some guys off. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just his overall experience, Cuban fighter, he can punch. I think that's why people think he'll give a lot of these other guys trouble.
How old is Ortiz in your opinion?
Shit, you tell me, man.
And according to Amir Mansour's 45. He's at least 48 years old.
I've heard Jarrell Miller say that Ortiz is, I believe it was Jarrell Miller. It was one of the other heavyweights. Maybe it wasn't Jarrell, but it was one of the other heavyweights, question his age. I know when they come over here, man, they kind of lie about their ages, so I'm not sure. I would say somewhere between 38 and 41.
he says there's no way he can be at that age because you just have to look at the people that were in the Olympic team and track it from there. Track it from there. Go back in his amateur career and track the people who's within his amateur career. He said that's how you find out. He said that's how I worked it out. That's what Mansour said.
That's a good point. I haven't done that type of research. Maybe I need to do it like that. But I know of his amateur career. I've seen some fights of him in the amateurs.
Right.
Even a fight that he lost. It's on YouTube. But yeah, I mean, if I had to guess, I'll say between, like I said, 38 and 41. I think I said somewhere in there. But if he's older, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. But again, the heavyweights, they mature a little bit differently, man. So if he is a little bit older, if he can still hold, I mean, shit, Amir Mansour is about 44, isn't he? 45?
No, Mansour's 45. I spoke to him less than a month ago, and he said,
Yep.
"Shit, I said I'm 45, and he's older than me. He's at least 3 years older than me."
Man, see, but Amir Mansour, that dude right there is a different 45 because he has legs.
Yeah.
And the reason I know he has his legs because he's always jogging. He's always, every time I see him on his Facebook, he's jogging for like
He's
45
jogging
minutes.
all the time. Yeah.
He's always out there running. So his wind and his legs separate him from the other 45-year-old guys like Tarver and Briggs and those type of guys.
On the subject of Mansour, where do you put him? Where is he in the mix? He thinks he's he should be fighting for the world title.
Hey man, based on what everybody else has done to quote unquote right, he's right there too.
I
I
agree.
mean shit. Um, what did Takam really do? He was rated next in line, but what did he really do to get the shot? What did Brazil do to get his shot? Well, I guess Brazil he beat Mansour, but um, for the most part, all these guys are getting these title shots. They really haven't really done anything. So to me, in my opinion, Mansour is right there. He just beat Travis Kaufman. I thought Kaufman beat Areola, and Areola ended up getting the shot.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I feel his pain, man, because what has everybody else really done? Even a guy like Huey Fury, I know he had the ranking, so I know people are going to say, but he was rated number one. Yeah, but what did he really do to get it? His best win was Fred Cassie, a guy who Mansour literally put into a coma.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel his pain, man.
I feel it too. Let's talk a little bit about the British heavyweights. Daniel Dubois, your thoughts?
Devastating amateur, man. I mean, not amateur, but prospect. I'm sorry, not amateur, a prospect. Obviously, he hasn't been in there with anybody to test him yet, but from the outside looking in, he looks like a damn good prospect. That's all I can really say. Want to see him move his head. I mean, I'm nitpicking here, but like to see him move his head a little bit more. Like to see him utilize that jab to set everything else up. Because it pains me to see big guys who throw away their jabs. Man, it pains me to see that. That's why it pains me to see Brian Jennings, who has an 84-inch reach, just kind of not even use it. But I like what I see with Daniel Dubois. He's to only be a young kid like that, man. He looks like a grown damn man. He looks like he's about 28 years old, man. So
Yeah.
his physicality is there. Uh, but can he use that physical presence in a tough fight? Because some guys can look muscular, but they don't necessarily use their physicality in fights. If you get what I'm saying.
Now, I've heard from good inside knowledge that whereas Anthony Joshua looks strong, Daniel Dubois is strong.
Hmm.
And that's on the inside. It said the guy that sparred both of them said Dubois, every time he hit me, he was shaking me up all the time. But Anthony Joshua, totally different matter altogether. I was walking down Joshua. So that's what I heard about Dubois and how physically strong Dubois is, which is frightening. Your thoughts on Dave Allen?
Tough. He's tough, man. I wish Dave Allen would have took the approach of like a lot of other fighters. Get his first 15 to 20 fights against guys. I'm not going to necessarily say bums, but guys like Jamal Woods, guys that test you. He should have those type of fights his first 15 to 20, and then try to fight the guys like Dillian White. But he's a tough dude, man. He's the type of dude that'll fight Ortiz and Dillian White just like that, without any question. So I got to commend the guy for that, man. Yeah, he's tough. Dave Allen is tough. I don't think he's a a world beater, but he is very tough.
Okay. Josh Sandland.
Good prospect. He's a good who did he beat
Akinlande.
who did he? Yeah, Akinlande, yeah. And Akinlande fought Gorman, yeah. He
Yep.
I want to see more Sandlin too. I want to see more of him too.
Gorman.
Good body puncher. Um, I like what Ricky Hatton is doing with him, and I think he should keep that same type of style that he's using. Again, just work behind jabs. I just want to see these big guys work behind their jabs, man. I'm just a big advocate about the jab, man, especially as the heavyweight division. Got to set things up. But I like Gorman. I like his body work. I like what Ricky Hatton's doing with him.
Okay. Who else? You know who I thought had a decent jab and a decent boxer, but Akinlande. I thought Akinlande had a very good jab. But
Yeah, I can let that. I thought that was gonna be a tough fight with Gorman, but yeah, I like Akinlande too. He's cool. I
what do you
wouldn't rate
rate?
him as
What do you rate of the Chisora's fight against Agit? What's his name? Agit, or whatever his name was.
Ajikawa.
Caballero. Yeah, Caballero. Yeah.
Well, the prediction I got the fight wrong. I picked Chisora to win, but during that prediction video, I did bring up the fact that I think Cabello does have the style to beat Chisora. I just thought the experience would carry Chisora over. But Cabello uses jab, fought in spurts, combinations, and moving, and that will always give Chisora problems. A jab, combination, punching, and movement. Um, so yeah, Cabello proved me wrong, and he's a guy that turned pro in 2000. Didn't have a lot of amateur. I don't think he really had an amateur background to speak of. So he's pretty much learning on the job, man. So for him to go in there and beat Chisora is pretty impressive.
How does he do against a Miller?
If he can handle, he has the type of style I think he's going to give Miller some problems. Just like because Miller kind of comes from that same cloth as Chisora somewhat, although
Yeah.
Miller will move and bend and roll a little bit more than Derek. But Miller has a high work rate. So if Cabello can handle the work rate and not gas out and tire up and get trapped against the ropes, I think it's an interesting fight. I would favor Miller in it. I think the physicality would be too much for Cabello, but shit, Cabello may go out there and prove me wrong again.
Vlad Serenka. What are your thoughts? People are asking me what your thoughts on Vlad Serenka is.
Explosive, and I think he's with the right trainer that can bring him along. Somebody that has experience with other top level elite heavyweights. That has, I have a lot of praise for Mr. Bashir, man. So if he's under that type of tutelage, sky's the limit for Serenka. Amateur background. He's always in shape, so that's something you don't have to worry about. He's an explosive puncher, some good boxing technique. Just want to see more of him.
Bashir compared him to he says a mixture between Tyson and Holyfield. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, when you're comparing guys to Tyson, that's some big shoes to fill right there. But stylistically, I mean, I understand what Bashir is saying. Explosiveness like Tyson. He has some stand up boxing pedigree like Holyfield.
Yeah.
Now we have to question, how is he tough like Holyfield? You know what I mean? Does he have that dog feel? Does he have that one punch knockout power level like a Mike Tyson? We'll see.
Time will tell. And how much do you know about Ruan Vissa?
I've seen some clips here. I got to see more of them.
Okay.
And that's saying a lot, man, because pretty much on top of all of these prospects as far as knowing who they are.
Okay. Whatever happened to Gentleman Jim or Gentleman the guy they called him the next coming to George Foreman? I think he looked a bit like George Foreman.
Gentleman George ARIAS?
Yeah. What happened to him?
He just fought recently against the Mexican guy. That's gonna piss me off, man. But the guy he didn't just fight, but he fought Andre Fedosov. Fedosov fought Brian Jennings in a good fight.
Oh wow! What did he
Yeah,
do
what's
to
the guy?
Fedosov?
the Mexican guy fought Parker in the amateurs in the World Series of Boxing, which was a pretty good damn fight they fought in. I forgot this guy's name, but Arias fought him, and he got knocked down in the fight. So he had
Oh
the it's
no.
actually let me see if I can look it up while we're talking. I forgot the guy's name. That's gonna piss me off. But Arias just fought him, and he needs to just keep working, man. Just keep taking those type of fights and just keep working. He's kind of small as far as his height, but he has a good work rate and he's very energetic. But needs to just keep working on his craft.
Okay. Okay. Um, Somebody asked early on about Junior. Is it Junior Far?
Yep, New Zealand prospect.
Thoughts
He
on
just
him?
fought on Showbox the other day.
Okay.
The guy name was Mario Heredia. That's who George Arias fought.
And he got
But
knocked out
as
by
far
him.
as yep, he got knocked down and got up on the fight.
Wow.
Junior looked good the other night against Latham. He went in there and blew him out. That's exactly how you want your heavyweight prospect to look. A guy who has that type of size, 6'6", 260 pounds, whatever. Latham on paper was going to be as tough as fight. Latham's a guy who's undefeated himself, has a draw against Alonzo Butler, which I thought was impressive for a guy that doesn't have that many fights. And I thought it was going to be a tough fight. I picked Fire to win by decision, but he went in there and blew him out in about 67 seconds, I believe, man.
Wow.
Yep.
Simon Keane?
Prospect Olympian out of Canada. He has the size. He has the size, man. So him, like a lot of other these guys, man, they have the size. They look good against the guys who they fought coming up. Just want to see him fight more, more higher level journeyman type of guys to get that experience. To fight guys that are awkward and a little bit savvy, guys that are going to push you the full 4, 6 rounds, however many rounds you're scheduled for. If he can get him out of there, get him out of there. But it's good to pick up that type of experience.
Yes.
And he's another guy, man. You can throw him. Just want to see more of him. But I like what I see. Yeah, definitely size.
You know who I'm really disappointed in is Izu Ngono. I had big hopes for him.
Yeah, he was in a slugfest. I thought he'd be back by now. I didn't think he'll still be sitting out.
Yeah, I'm
You know, he
disappointed.
went in there. He went in there with Brazil, man. They had a good slugfest. I think Iju was kind of ran out of gas
Hmm.
because he was literally walking away in spurts of that fight. He'll literally like walk away from Brazil with his hands down. And usually when I see that, that lets me know that you don't have enough energy to keep your hands up. Your arms are getting a little bit tired, a little bit heavy. Um, and he wasn't like backing up trying to fight with his hands down, a la Larry Holmes. He was literally walking away with his hands down, like, damn, my arms are tired. My arms feel heavy. So I thought if he could have paced himself a little bit more and try to pinpoint shots against Brazil instead of trying to go out there and win, 6, 7, 8 punch combinations. But Brazil is so open sometimes. I'm sure as a fighter fighting him, it's kind of hard not to keep throwing because he's open to be hit. But Iju showed heart in that fight. He was getting up. Even when he got knocked out the end, he fell through the ropes, but he wasn't unconscious. He just kind of fell over the ropes. He
Yeah,
wanted to get up. The ref told him to just lay down. The fight's over. So
yeah,
he wasn't unconscious. But I thought he'll be back by now. At least two, or at least one or two fights by now.
it's not good. DL Jones.
DL Jones.
Yes.
I don't think I've heard of him.
Okay. Somebody's asking. Trap House Boxing asks, who you all got? Chisora versus Stavern.
At this point, I would say Chisora by
Okay.
decision. I'll go with Chisora by decision, just because based on the fact he's been more active.
Okay.
He's been more active. They both pretty much have the same style. I think it'd probably be entertaining, to tell you the truth, if they both come forward with the high guard, banging away at each other. But I will go with Chisora based on he's just been more active, man. And I like to go with the guys who've been more active. I know it doesn't always pan out like that when guys fight each other, but I will always lean towards the guy that's been more active.
Okay. Oscar Rivas. What happened to his career?
Um, I can try to look up the rankings really quick, but I thought I seen that he was in the top 10 of the WBC right now. And he's a guy that just keeps having, when he comes down to the States at least, he can never pass a eye exam. Yeah, he had a fight with Mansoor that was taken off the table because of that. And he had a fight with Gerald Washington that was taken off the table because of that. And I thought those could have been possibly, if it would have went his way, could have been signature wins for him. And I thought the Mansoor fight, that right there is made for TV action, man. So I was very
Yeah.
fight came off the table. Very disappointed.
Where does Shannon Briggs fit in all this, or does he not?
He doesn't really fit in at the moment. I like Shannon, man. I really do, man. I really do like Shannon. Even back in the '90s, I appreciated Shannon, but it's just like you said, where does he fit in? Shannon has to be able to want to take a fight like a Charles Martin or somebody like that. I know Shannon wants title shots and things like that, but he's been very inactive. And when he was in the ring, it was against somebody that wasn't rated. I thought the Frederick Kendall fight would have been good for Shannon. He would have been able to possibly pick up a secondary title. I believe it was the regular title. But I like to see Shannon fight. Man, him and Amir Mansour be a good fight.
Yeah, hell, it'd be a great fight.
Yeah, so I think Shannon will make for some entertaining fights. It's just that is Shannon willing to take pay cuts to make the fight? And I seen Shannon talking a few months ago about his team was in talks with Pavek for November, but November's here, and we know that Pavek is moving on with Christian Hammer. So
Yeah.
I know Shannon wants fights where he can make some money, man. So I'm not gonna undermine Shannon, but I think he may have to take a mid tier level guy to try to get a title shot. But it seems like Shannon right now, from the outside looking in, wants the title shot, or he'll fight like a journeyman level guy to stay warmed up and busy. You know what I mean? So he's kind of like in that type of situation where it's a title shot or the bottom of the barrel. I think he needs to be somewhere in the middle, man.
So somebody asked a question about Gary Cornish, but I don't know if they're trying to be serious.
Well, Cornish just lost to Sam Sexton. I thought it was a good fight.
Yeah.
And when I say good fight, I love watching these fights, man. So I thought it was a decent fight. Cornish, for a guy that big, man, you would think he can hit a lot harder. That's why it doesn't necessarily mean how big you are, man, because Cornish is tall, he weighs a lot, but he doesn't really have that one punch knockout type of power. Um, I like to see more of him. That's all I can really say about Gary Cornish.
Okay. You'll know this guy by this quote. I walk this earth like a gold.
Oh, Charles Martin. I heard,
Sorry.
and this is another channel I forgot to mention, the Boxing Voice, but I've seen a video on one of their, or seen a Martin on one of their videos saying that he's possibly fighting Brazil. I don't know how true that is, but
Everyone's fighting Brazil. Everyone's meant to fight Brazil. It's like everybody wants to fight Brazil. I don't know. So
yeah, Martin, man, it's just a lot of fans cannot get over that fight with AJ. They just can't, man. I like Martin, Southpaw. Uh, just that AJ fight just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Not that the fact that he lost, it's how he lost. He
yeah,
kind of like had a smirk. Yeah, it's like kind of had like a smirk on his face as he was getting. Yeah, I don't know, man. It just seems like he just once he tasted that power, he said, "You know what? Get paid. You can have the bill." That's just what it seemed like.
but it was worse than that. Is when he was coming into the arena eating with a pot noodle. That's what got me mad. He was walking into the arena he was eating pot noodles. I'm like,
Wow.
this is a man that's meant to be preparing to defend his world heavyweight championship. My man's walking to the ring. He's walking into the arena eating pot noodle.
Yeah, I could see coming in eating some grapes or half of like an orange or something, to stay hydrated. Yeah,
But
I'm
even
not. I don't-
but a pot
But
noodle.
one thing about Martin I can't is he went on like a I'm not gonna call it a tirade. I guess the man just living his life, but he was on Instagram, man, doing a lot of things that a lot of us would question as far as being a professional fighter.
Mm-hmm.
But then what I can say is the last, I want to say like the last year, maybe 10 months. Has it been 10 months? I don't know. But majority of the time he's been on Instagram, man, training. I've seen him down at the Kronk. Always see him sparring. He looks to be in better shape than he was. He's taken a couple tune-up type fights to stay busy. So I will give him his props on that.
Charles Martin versus Bermain Stavern.
I will go with, and that, man, it's kind of hard because guys that say you look, you're as good as your last fight, and it's just like saying Stavern against anybody right now will make you say the other guy. You know what I mean? But
Of course. Yeah.
it's just, I think we need to stop on the Stavern versus somebody thing because it's just off that last one. I will pick the other guy.
You pick the other guy. I understand that. I get that. Kubrat Pulev.
Kurbat Pulev, one of the best jabs in the division. To be honest with you, man, I know a lot of fans were getting on me saying Pulev, or because they kept saying, how can I question he didn't want to fight AJ because there was $5 million at stake? And I keep telling you guys, man, it's not all about the money. If people don't want to fight somebody, man, they're just not going to fight them. And Pulev isn't some poor fighter. He's well off. He owns a boxing academy out there with his brother. He's a big star in Bulgaria. So he isn't some poor guy that needs a check. I just don't think the guy wants to fight AJ, even from last year. And I know people say, well, he was waiting until he became the voluntary. I mean, not the voluntary, but the mandatory. So why would he carry money? My thing is, dude, he just didn't want to fight AJ. And I still don't think he wants to fight AJ. But I like Pulev. I just think he wants to fight AJ.
Pulev, every time I think of Pulev, I think of a fencer. And I just see him
with
with
his
that
jab.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
That's it. I mean,
Pulev is a guy I would like to see him fight more pressure guys just for the style, just see what it looks like. Him and Oscar Rivas would be a good fight. Being that Rivas beat him in the Olympics, I think him and Rivas right now would be a good fight.
How about Pulev versus Parker?
I'll go with Parker because Parker has more dimensions to his game. I think just like Klitschko, I think Klitschko conceded to the fact that, hey, when they were fighting, from what I've seen, it looked like Klitschko said to himself, you know what? This guy can jab with me at the very least. He may be even out jabbing me. That's what made Klitschko say, all right, you can have the jab. I'm just going to start countering you with lead left hooks, right hands. That's how we got Pulev out of there, in my opinion. But Pulev, if you try to just go jab for jab, you're going to find yourself in a tough fight with him, man. Yeah. But I think Parker more to his game, better defense.
Shout out to Standing 8 Counts. It says, Pulev is a very proud man and won't be rushed into a fight that he doesn't think is right. Yeah, well, that's smart. Smart man.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't think it's right because he don't want that work. That's how I look at it. Of course he doesn't think it's right.
Who actually does want the work with AJ? I mean, really?
Wilder.
Yes.
Miller. I think there's guys that really want to fight him. Now, can they beat him? That's a different discussion. But as far as really wanting to fight him to prove something, I really do think those guys want to beat him. And I know people say, well, look at Charles Martin. Yeah, look at Charles Martin. That's Charles Martin. Martin isn't Wilder. Martin, I believe, man, was he was looking for the highest bidder.
Yeah.
Because at first people forget that he actually offered to fight to Parker. You can look it up. He offered to fight to Parker. They bring enough money to the table. So then he went to Joshua. Because Martin could have easily have defended his title, maybe a home. You know how it is when these guys win their titles, they'll have a hometown fight, collect a payday, then they'll go to the big fight. He went straight to whoever's paying the most, which is fine. It's his.
Okay. Last question before we end the evening. Lennox Lewis, the era. Where were you at when Lennox Lewis was world undisputed heavyweight champion?
Watching the fights. I actually have I was going to use this in my instead of my picture. I was going to use the picture of my father and Lennox Lewis that he took with him in '95. So I've been following Lennox ever, man, and I get kind of upset sometimes when I see this in the comment section. Is when people say, "Yeah, these Yanks won't give credit to our guys to see Lennox Lewis." That's BS, man. We love Lennox over here. We loved him over here. The dude was on fucking HBO every damn weekend. You know what I mean? We love Lennox. Now, when he went against Tyson, Holyfield. Of course, we're picking those guys to beat him. But even the Tyson fight, man, I remember this. I was in college when I watched that fight. My heart was pulling for Mike, but I knew Lennox was going to beat him. And as the fight was unfolding, I'm just sitting there like, man, he's going to destroy Mike. Mike, at that stage, I know they're around the same age, but Lennox, to me, aged better than Mike. And I just knew Mike was going to get knocked out in that fight. But Lennox, one of the all-time greats. Uh, he's just a great fighter, man. There's nothing to hate on Lennox about. Even the fights that he lost, he came back and revenged them. You really can't say shit about Lennox. And he was willing and ready to fight everybody. He didn't, he didn't want to wait. He didn't want to build. I never heard Lennox say anything about building fights and none of that. He wanted to fight the guys. Came to America, came to the fights. Him and Riddick Bowe, you guys remember that? Him and Bowe getting into it.
Yep.
To me, man, there's nothing to say bad about Lennox, man.
There was a tweet recently by Sly Sports, and they said, do you think that Anthony Joshua is the greatest British heavyweight ever?
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. They said that?
They tweeted it.
Oh my goodness.
And would you believe there were people in this room that actually said Joshua's resume is better than Lennox Lewis's at the moment?
See, I know what they're talking. They're talking about with his first 20 fights, that whole thing. I mean, I guess if you don't look at that, man, but to me, the best way to look at this, let his career get over with, then we come back. Because this whole thing, well, in his first 20 fights, or in his first 21 fights, in his first 5 fights, I mean, come on, guys. You know what I mean? We're going to be here forever doing that. So next fight, we're going to say is what, his first 21 fights? His first 22 fights? Let's just wait till the guy's career gets over with. Did Lennox beat a Vladimir Klitschko type of opponent by his 20th fight? No, he didn't. But one thing that Lennox did that AJ has yet to do is to beat other title holders, guys that are calling him out, guys that want to fight him, and guys that are perceived as. He beat Klitschko, but that was a Klitschko coming off the loss. It was for a vacant title. It wasn't like Klitschko was the champ. So Lennox was looking for Mike Tyson. He was looking for Holyfield. He was looking for those guys. He was looking for Bowe. He was looking for Razor Ruddock. All those guys that were perceived threats, he wanted them. He didn't want to build it, wait. I need, just all the stuff that I'm hearing. It wasn't none of that. He was looking for the top challenges all the time. Even when he had a chance to fight Ruiz to keep his, was it the WBA that he vacated?
Yeah.
Guess what Lennox did? He said, you know what? I know you guys want me to fight Ruiz, but Ruiz been knocked out by Tua. Everybody know I'll beat him. Let me take on Michael Grant. The guys that you think can beat me. Grant was at that moment of time. At that moment of time, I know it's easy to look at it in hindsight and say Grant wasn't anything, but at that moment in time, Grant was looked at as a huge threat. Undefeated. He had that great fight with Galata where he got dropped and got up and came back and won. He was undefeated, strong guy, looked the part. Lennox said, give me him. His mindset was different, man, in my opinion, at least.
It's true. And as you said, Lennox never spent any time talking about marinating fights. He just wanted to get the fights, get in there and get a job done. Simple as that. So,
yeah, Lennox, man. And then that's his last point. For AJ to pass Lennox, he has a lot of work to do. If people think just beating 41-year-old Klitschko is enough, that's mistaken, man. He has a lot of work to do to fill Lennox Lewis' shoes. Lennox Lewis, arguably top 5. I mean, you can argue that.
Yeah.
I have him high, so big shoes to fill, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mr. Boxing Today, is there anything you'd like to say before we can finish this off tonight?
Good to finally get on the chat with you, man. I'm trying to make my rounds, get on all the guys who I follow, listen to their channels. Trying to make my rounds, man, get on everybody's live streams when they're up and if I'm available. I haven't done a video in about a week. Just kind of bored, man. Been going back watching a lot of fights in the 70s, 80s, and 90s to get my boxing fix. Right. But I'm just getting kind of drawn out with the whole Wilder, AJ talk. I want to see the fight. Just gets kind of corny sometimes arguing with fans about it, man, because a lot of fans, they want to see it, but then they want to argue at the same time. So I just want to see the fight, man. But I'll be back up on my channel if you guys follow me, man. I'll be back making videos soon. But it was glad to get on your platform, and always a pleasure. And always listen to you. I'm always in the chat section when you're talking to Stavern and all these other guys, man. So definitely a pleasure being on.
Stay tuned. Hopefully this week we might be to bring some very special news, and you'll be the first to know if we can pull it off. It's going to be a special week. Fingers crossed. We hope. We're going to be trying to talk to Julian Jackson this week, and we may be trying to talk to a heavyweight legend this week as well.
The Hawk, Julian Jackson. Now that dude
This would be the third or fourth time we've spoken to the Hawk. So we're
I'm
looking
definitely
forward to that.
that one, man.
So yeah,
The way he did
Terry Norris.
that was man. The Hawk had one punch knockout power for real, man.
That's what you could talk a real one punch knockout artist. You know, wow, what a fighter! Right, once again, thank you very much, Mr. Boxing Today. Of course, don't forget to rate and subscribe to Mr. Boxing's channel. Where can people find you, Mr. Boxing Today?
Mr. Boxing Today 2 on YouTube. If the Mr. Boxing Today channel pops up, never mind that channel. I haven't uploaded there in years. But Mr. Boxing Today 2 on YouTube. If you go to Twitter, I'm not really on Twitter like that. Tweets will pop up because I have it connected to my YouTube page. So my tweet will be that my video's up, but I'm really not active on there. You really want to hear from me, just come on YouTube, Mr. Boxing Today 2. And I'm on a lot of live streams. I've been doing a lot of live streams with other fans, like even right here. Just trying to discuss boxing and have some interaction instead of just doing a video. But catch me on YouTube, Mr. Boxing Today 2.
Mr. Boxing Today, I'm going to ask if you could give us give the BWTM community a call to action, which is to subscribe to the channel. Instead of me telling them to subscribe to the channel, I'm going to ask you to finish and have the final say.
All right. Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? Mr. Boxing Today 2 here. If you want excellent interviews, excellent content, check out my man Ingram, WTM Sports. I'm out.
Thank you all. Good night. Take care.